Chapter 2705. As expected of the legendary divine body. But giving it to you is too much of a pity. Kid, I'll give you a chance to live. Tell me the cultivation method of the 9-yang divine body. I can spare your life. The number 1 genius eyes burned with passion. Even he couldn't remain calm in front of the 9-yang divine body. After all, this was the famous divine body of the ancient era. After reaching major completion, one could truly sweep through the 8 desolations. Kid, hurry up and hand over the cultivation method of the 9-yang divine body. Who do you think you are to cultivate a divine body? Only the number 1 genius of the battle race has the qualifications to cultivate such a peerless physique. The battle race's martial artists roared. In the sky, countless runes flickered as figures tore through the void and crossed over. For symbols Saint Sun, all beginnings Saint Sun, unfettered Saint Sun, No Flower, Gu Santong, Myriad Poison Cult, Beast Emperor Palace, and Tao One Holy Land. The young geniuses and experts of the other 4 continents opened their Tao gates and directly teleported over. There was nothing they could do about it. The impact of this battle was too great. The battle between the number 1 genius and Lin Xian instantly spread throughout the entire True Spirit continent. These people didn't hesitate to open their Tao gates to come over and take a look. Fortunately, they didn't fight. Right, it wasn't too late. They were finally able to witness this world-shaking battle. The newly arrived geniuses' eyes flickered as they stared at the battlefield. Do you see? These geniuses are all here for the number 1 genius of the battle race. What immortal palace? What central emperor? They're nothing before the number 1 genius of the battle race. The battle race's martial artists clamored one after another. Noisy. Lin Xian coldly snorted. Dozens of huge palms appeared in the sky and instantly slapped away those clamoring martial artists. Pung. 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 Those battle race's geniuses were sent flying while vomiting blood. All the bones in their bodies were shattered. Many of them even directly exploded, turning into a bloody mist that surged through the void. What a terrifying method. The distant people were alarmed. Their scalps went numb as they rapidly retreated. The battle race's people screamed as if they had gone mad. Ah, you dare to injure our people? You're dead. The prince of the great Xia dynasty, Seiko Dian, the newcomer No Flower, and the others were also extremely shocked. The eyes of the other princes and saintesses were also flickering. The expression of the number 1 genius of the war race sank. His eyes were filled with killing intent. The other party actually dared to injure someone of his war race, right in front of him. This was truly an unforgivable crime. Today, even if you kneel down and beg me, I will not forgive you. At this point he stretched out a palm. This palm turned into a starry sky with incomparably flickering runes, enveloping Lin Xian. Tens of thousands of auras descended and pierced through the void. A terrifying force swept across the surroundings. Humph. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He didn't move. He clenched his fist and punched out. His fist was like a sun that soared into the clouds, its radiant light illuminating the surroundings. Boom! An earth-shattering collision sound rang out, and the entire sky quickly trembled. Countless large cracks appeared, and wild gales swept out, blowing many people away. After the first exchange, the 2 of them were evenly matched and did not fight again. However, the auras of the 2 of them became more and more powerful. The number 1 genius of the war race had a cold expression. His gaze turned into 2 divine rainbows, wanting to see through Lin Xian. The others cried out in alarm. It was too terrifying. The 2 of them were really too terrifying. The saints and saintesses were also shocked. They could no longer withstand such an attack. However, this was just a casual attack from the 2 of them. If the 2 of them attacked with their full strength, how terrifying would it be? They didn't dare to imagine. Interesting. To be able to block my punch. It seems like you're more powerful than I imagined. Lin Xian said. I wonder if you can block my next attack? At this point Lin Xian took the lead. His fist turned into 1,000 suns that burst forth in the sky. Heaven battling divine fist. The moment Lin Xian attacked, he used the war race's great ability, Heaven battling divine fist. A berserk aura surged, exploding in all directions. Brat, you're courting death. The number 1 genius voice was cold as killing intent surged from his body. He had long heard that the other party knew their war race's divine fist. He didn't expect that the other party would really use it now. Reckless thing. How dare you steal my war race's ability? Today, I'll let you know what the true heaven-battling divine fist is. He roared angrily, and also used the heaven-battling divine fist to attack. The two of them collided, causing the heavens to collapse and the earth to crack. The people around them continuously retreated, and used their king's domains to defend themselves. Some people even fled, and used secret techniques to watch from afar. There was nothing they could do. The two of them were too powerful. Every attack could destroy heaven and earth. Bang! Lin Xian let out a long roar. His black hair fluttered, and his 9-yang divine body emitted billions of rays of light. The dragon sword soul in his body roared. He punched out with both fists like a dragon transforming into the sky. He forced the number 1 genius back with one punch. What? The number 1 genius was forced back? That was impossible. The number 1 genius had practiced the same fist technique for so many years. But he couldn't defeat the other party? Could it be that Lin Xian was already so terrifying? Everyone exclaimed. The war race's geniuses screamed crazily. Impossible. How could the number 1 genius be forced back? Careless, he must have been careless. That's right, that kid sneaked an attack. They gritted their teeth. What number 1 genius? That's all there is to it. You can't even defeat me with the same fist technique. And you still have the face to stand here? Lin Xian looked at his opponent and sneered. The number 1 genius was so angry that he trembled. The murderous aura on his body shattered hundreds of mountains below. He really couldn't understand how the other party could use the heaven-battling divine fist to such a terrifying extent without the power of a bloodline. In fact, it was even more powerful than his. Damn it! This kid must have some secrets. Perhaps this was the power of the 9-yang divine body. Thinking of this, his eyes were burning with passion. He had to get his hands on such a terrifying divine body. You only force me back. What's there to be proud of? Do you think you can defeat me like this? That's right, it's enough for me to kill you. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He stepped on the chaotic yin-yang reversal, and instantly rushed forward. His speed was fast to the extreme, and the 9-yang divine body blossomed with resplendent light, illuminating the entire sky with incomparable brightness. A strange sound could be heard coming from his body. It was like a dragon's roar, causing everyone to tremble. Go to hell, brat. The number 1 genius snorted and waved his fists, shaking heaven and earth, shattering a part of the sky. The light that filled the sky was torn apart. Countless afterimages were destroyed. However, none of them were Lin Xian's real body. Lin Xian had already arrived behind the number 1 genius. At this moment, he was holding the dragon source ancient sword and slashing down from the sky. With a slash of the sword, the sky fell and the earth split. Not good. That kid is using all his strength. Yes, the 9-yang divine body coupled with his terrifying sword technique. Probably not many people could withstand it. Would the number 1 genius be able to withstand it? These people discussed animatedly. Indeed, the 9-yang divine body had already shocked them. Lin Xian's sword chi was even more terrifying. Few people of the same level could rely on it. Chapter 2706. The number 1 prodigy also felt threatened. With a roar, his muscles tightened as he turned around and struck out with his palm. The sun, moon, and stars revolved around his palm, forming a starry universe that smashed forward. What kind of cultivation technique was that? Why did it seem like a real world? In the distance, those people exclaimed. The mystiques of the war tribe were too terrifying. Each one of them made one feel despair. Boom! The stars in the sky wrapped around the terrifying sword light and continuously extinguished it, causing the sword light to dim. Countless stars shattered, but in the end, the sword chi was suppressed. He blocked it. He had actually blocked the other party's sword chi. The starry sky was too terrifying. It was like a real universe. Everyone was shocked. The princes and saints were also shocked. The great Xia prince, No Flower Gu Santong, and the others were staring at the number 1 prodigy of the war tribe with bright eyes. The stars in their eyes disappeared, as if they were deducing the entire battlefield. Lin Xian was also shocked. As expected of the number 1 prodigy, He was indeed powerful. One had to know that he had been in seclusion for the past few years, and had become stronger. However, the other party had been able to block his sword so easily. It was indeed surprising. The other party was definitely standing at the peak of the younger generation. But so what? Today, he would definitely crush the other party. Kid, it's useless. You can't do anything in my universe of destruction. Following the number one prodigy's voice, the starry universe pressed down, wanting to swallow Lin Xian. Scram! In the face of such a terrifying universe of destruction, Lin Xian shouted coldly and roared at the sky. His fist was like a dragon as it blasted out. The Nine Suns' divine fist erupted with billions of rays of light, and countless sword chi swept out in all directions. Lin Xian carried an unparalleled power, as his fist smashed into the universe of destruction. There was a loud boom that shook the heavens. The stars in the universe were directly split apart by this punch, turning into rubble that scattered in all directions. The entire universe trembled as countless sword chi stirred, turning into a huge dragon that rushed into the sky. In the end, the universe was pierced into a hole. One after another, black holes flickered, making one's scalp go numb. Impossible. He actually destroyed the Annihilation universe. The battle race's martial artists were all stunned. Zhang Changfeng and the others were even more dumbfounded. They didn't dare to believe it. The number one elite was extremely powerful, especially in the Annihilation Great Cosmos. Even if Luo Yunyang used all his 36 celestial constellations, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. However, the other party actually shattered it with a single punch. Could it be that the other party had become so powerful? Or could it be that the other party didn't use his full strength the last time they fought? Zhang Changfeng didn't dare to imagine. I've said it before, you can't. Lin Xian let out a long howl like a demon god. The number one genius expression turned cold. Brat, you're courting death. It was as if he had turned into a god of death, whose aura swept across the nine heavens. Move of thunder. The number one genius turned into a bolt of lightning and disappeared into the sky. His speed had reached an unimaginable level, and he appeared in front of Lin Xian in an instant. Lin Xian brandished his sword and slashed out. However, he soon discovered that his sword strike had missed. The other party appeared behind him again. Boom! He struck out with his palm. This palm struck Lin Xian's body and sent Lin Xian flying. However, the nine-yang divine body was extremely powerful. Lin Xian wasn't injured, but his qi and blood were surging. However, this still shocked him. The other party's speed was really too fast. Brat, you can die now. As he spoke, the number one genius body disappeared again. So fast. In the distance, all the cultivators exclaimed. The eyelids of the saints, princes, peerless geniuses and older generation figures were also twitching wildly. This speed was too fast, so fast that even they couldn't keep up. What's going on? How can this number one genius speed be so fast? Why do I feel that his speed has reached the level of an invincible king? I've seen invincible kings before, but they don't seem to have such terrifying speed. What kind of divine ability does the other party have? These people discussed animatedly. However, the people of the war tribe laughed. Did you see that? This is the true strength of the number one genius. Brat, you're dead meat. Sure enough, in a short instant, Lin Xian suffered dozens of attacks. Every time he was forced back. The qi and blood in his body were surging, and his face turned pale. With a roar, the dragon sword spirit domain on his body opened up and enveloped him. Countless sword qi surged, surrounding him in all directions. In the next moment, something shocking happened. In the sky, in an instant, there were tens of thousands of collision sounds. Each attack was extremely powerful, sending the sword qi flying. The number one genius. It was the number one genius who had attacked. His speed was too fast. It's over. Lin Xian was actually suppressed. He originally thought that he could suppress the number one genius, or at least fight to a draw. Now, it seemed that he was no match for the number one genius. Yes, the number one genius speed was too fast. That brat is obviously no match for our number one genius. I'm afraid he can't even find where our number one genius is. The experts of the war tribe sneered. Zhang Changfeng's mouth also curled into a sinister smile. Brother Xian, Morong Qingqing and Shinjingqiu were nervous. No Flower and Gu Santong were also frowning. On the other side, the great Xia prince's eyes were red. This scene was also out of his expectations. No one thought that the number one genius speed would be so fast, turning into a peerless lightning. What fast speed! Lin Xian opened up the Dragon Sword Spirit domain and temporarily blocked the other party's attack. His face was extremely gloomy, and a golden light flashed in his eyes. He activated the Heavenly Secret God Eye and quickly captured it. He realized that the other party's speed was indeed very fast, and he kept moving around him. Not good. Suddenly, his pupils shrank, and his body suddenly disappeared. Just as he left, a large crack appeared where he was originally standing. A long black saber directly shattered the void. Pung! The Dragon Sword Spirit domain suffered a fierce attack. Countless sword chi became dim. Lin Xian kept retreating, and his aura was tumbling. Brat, your reaction is fast. However, can you keep up with my speed? The number one genius disappeared. When he reappeared, he attacked thousands of times, and all of them hit Lin Xian's Dragon Sword Spirit domain. The Dragon Sword Spirit domain was constantly being attacked. Do you really think that I can't keep up with your speed? Yin-yang disorder. 8 steps defying the heavens. Lin Xian was also angry. The yin-yang qi under his feet quickly rotated, and the shadow of a dragon appeared. At this moment, he had completely combined the chaotic yin-yang disorder steps and Heavenly Dragon's 8 steps, creating a new step. Yin-yang 8 steps. Within 8 steps, the world is limitless. Lin Xian's eyes became disillusioned, and his body instantly turned into a stream of light, disappearing on the spot. He dodged it, he actually dodged it. The surrounding people exclaimed, "Heavens, his speed has also become faster. I can't find any trace of Lin Xian no matter how hard I try." Chapter 2707. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect Lin Xian's speed to increase so much. Impossible. How could that brat be so fast? The members of the war race also had crazed looks on their faces. Thunder's eclipse was extremely terrifying. In order to master Thunder's eclipse, the requirements for one's body were terrifying. One had to have a strong physique in order to be able to withstand the consequences of such a powerful force. Furthermore, lightning displacement was a cultivation technique that consumed the power of one's bloodline. Once it was displayed, even invincible kings might not necessarily be able to keep up. It could be said that the moment the number one genius unleashed this move, everyone from the war tribe knew that Lin Xian was dead for sure. However, to everyone's surprise, although Lin Xian was being suppressed, it didn't take long for him to increase his speed again, becoming as fast as the lightning cave. Damn it! How did the other party also have this kind of secret technique? I have to thank you for helping me achieve my 2 footwork. Lin Xian laughed heartily. He was using both footsteps and cultivating them. However, he had always wanted to fuse them together, but he was unable to do so perfectly. Just now, he had received a great shock. To him, this was a hopeless situation that he had never experienced before. However, in this desperate situation, he was unprecedentedly rational. In addition, he was observing the other party's movements. In an instant, he had an epiphany. He combined the 2 footsteps to form the yin-yang 8 footsteps. This footwork combined the elusiveness of the yin-yang reversal and the extreme speed of the demigods and semi-devils. Within 8 steps, his speed had reached an unparalleled level. As expected, Lin Xian's current speed was not at all inferior to the number one prodigies. In fact, he had an even greater advantage than he had on the first day. With his heavenly secret god eyes, he could clearly capture the trajectory of the number one genius. However, he didn't think the number one heaven's favorite could track him down. Sure enough, gradually, the number one prodigy started to make mistakes. This wasn't intentional, but because he really couldn't catch it. With a bang, the number one heaven's favorite spat out blood and was sent flying. He had been struck by a sword. The resplendent light on his body was completely split apart. His armor was also torn to shreds. However, the number one genius did not shed any blood. His flesh was ancient too, with mysterious runes on it, forming a heavenly diagram. Peerless battle physique. Heavens, he actually has a peerless battle physique. Many experts of the older generation cried out in surprise. The others were even more shocked. Peerless physique? What was that? A young martial artist asked. The older generation experts' faces were full of shock. That was an extremely terrifying physique. Within the war race, it was the most valiant body. In ancient times, the unparalleled battle physique was one of the most powerful physiques. After peerless, everyone's peerless. The number one heavens peerless to peerless. Peerless peto peerless. S peerless to peerless T. Tdd Petot Lin Xian had only obtained the 9 yang divine body a few years ago. T Tapetos. Just like the holy body, they were born with it. With the battle races, terrifying resources and meticulous training, the other party's peerless battle physique was absolutely terrifying. That's right. If we were to compare the terrifying levels of the two physiques, perhaps the 9 yang divine body was more powerful. However, in the current situation, Lin Xian was truly at a disadvantage. The elders quickly discussed among themselves, and the saints and princes around them were also shocked by what they heard. The sky prides of the war tribe raised their heads and laughed out loud. Ha 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 ha, kid, now you know. My title as the number one prodigy is not just for show. That's right. Our battle tribe's peerless battle physique is definitely not inferior to the saint physique or your divine physique. Let me tell you the biggest secret. The unparalleled battle physique has an even more horrifying feature apart from its tough physique. That is super strong combat power. The war race was born for battle. They could fight against the heavens and destroy everything. Nothing is stronger than our unparalleled battle constitutions, in terms of combat ability. Little brat, go to hell obediently. The people of the war race roared madly. When the other older generation members heard this, their expressions changed. That's right. How could I forget about that? Just thinking about his defensive power made the older generation members cry out in alarm. The unparalleled battle physique was famous in the ancient era. It was known as the unparalleled battle physique. Once this physique was revealed, it would definitely be an existence that could sweep through the world. Unparalleled battle physique. How powerful did one have to be able to earn such a title? One could imagine how heaven-defying the unparalleled battle physique was. Although that kid's swordsmanship was also sharp, he would probably be defeated by the unparalleled battle physique. That's right. Who would have thought that the number one prodigy of the war race would have such a shocking physique? It seemed that in terms of combat ability, it surpassed the 9 yang divine physique. That might not necessarily be the case. The strength that kid displayed now was also very terrifying. Moreover, Lin Xian seemed to have never been defeated since his debut. Perhaps he could also create a miracle this time. The 9 yang divine physique was not to be trifled with. Many people still supported Lin Xian, because they had already regarded Lin Xian as their idol. Lin Xian could be said to be a new force to be reckoned with in recent years. He had gone from being unknown to sweeping across the continent. The shock caused by this was not something that could be erased with just a few words. Lin Xian's swordsmanship is definitely the strongest I have ever seen. The legend of the 9 yang divine physique is not fake. Those people clenched their fists. Humph. Just wait, that kid will definitely be killed. Even if he has the 9 yang divine physique, it won't be enough. The people of the war race sneered. The number one prodigy of the war race had a sinister expression. Kid, I admit that the 9 yang divine physique is very strong. However, that is the great success 9 yang divine physique. You have only cultivated for a few years. You are not my opponent at all. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being too weak. The number one prodigy laughed loudly. Countless mysterious runes flickered on his body, turning into a shocking light that pierced through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Lin Xian's expression was strange. Unparalleled battle physique. Unparalleled battle strength? Why did this name sound so familiar? His great dragon sword soul was known as the number one offensive existence in the world. It was even more terrifying than the unparalleled battle physique. However, apart from him and the dark red divine dragon, almost no one knew that he had the great dragon sword soul. Otherwise, Those people would not be surprised when they heard about the unparalleled battle physique. Instead, they would sympathize with him. This number one prodigy was really a tragic person. Although he had the unparalleled battle physique, he still encountered me? Lin Xian sneered and narrowed his eyes. Well, let me see how strong your unparalleled battle physique is. To be honest, he was also looking forward to it. The unparalleled battle physique was quite famous and had been passed down since ancient times. He wondered how it would compare to the great dragon sword soul that he now had. Come, let me see if your unparalleled battle physique is as powerful as the rumors say. Lin Xian swept his sword forward. Chapter 2708. The number one prodigy displayed his peerless battle constitution, and the dazzling light swept across the 9 heavens and 10 lands. At this moment, he was like a god of war that had descended from the heavens, suppressing the surroundings, causing everyone's expression to change. The saints' bodies began to tremble. It's too terrifying. This power. Is this the power of the peerless battle constitution? Why do I feel that it's even more terrifying than the sacred body? The peerless battle constitution was really born for battle. The older generation figures also quickly retreated. The expressions of the great Xia Prince, Huagu Santong, and the others also changed. It's too terrifying. The number one prodigy's greatest trump card was actually the peerless battle constitution. It was really beyond their expectations. I wonder if Brother Lin will be able to withstand it? It was really hard to say. After all, Brother Lin had obtained the 9 young divine body for too short a time. If it had been a few more decades, it would be different. Brother Xian, Morong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu also cried out. Lin Xian waved his hand and said, "Don't worry, you guys retreat first and protect yourselves. I can handle it." "Okay, Brother Xian, be careful." Morong Qingqing nodded and pulled Xin Jingqiu, and the two of them quickly retreated. Countless lotus flowers danced on their bodies, forming a powerful light that resisted the monstrous aura of the number one prodigy. Peerless battle constitution. You're the first person who can make me use my full strength. I'm honored to see you. Lin Xian's voice spread throughout the world. What? Full strength? Could it be that this kid has never used his full strength before? Impossible. Pretentious. He must be pretentious. Reckless kid. How dare you say such words in front of our number one prodigy? You're definitely dead. The people of the war tribe also sneered. The number one prodigy shouted coldly, and his body bloomed with light like a furnace of heaven and earth, emitting incomparable light. The terrifying power suppressed the world. However, soon the expressions of the surrounding people changed. It was not because of the peerless battle constitution. It was because of Lin Xian. Lin Xian's aura had become extremely terrifying. It wasn't any weaker than the unparalleled battle constitution. At this moment, even though Lin Xian's body was shining brightly, it also emitted a supreme killing intent. His entire body seemed to have turned into a sharp sword, extremely resplendent. His body swayed slightly as he tore through the sky and sliced the void in half. Had he transformed into a sword? What kind of tricks did this brat have? What was his trump card? What kind of swordsmanship was that? Could it be that he had the body of a divine sword? Everyone was stupefied. They had never seen someone who could use sword qi to such a terrifying degree. Putting aside the battle prowess, just this aura alone was something that not many invincible king-level swordsmen could display. How was this possible? How could he possess such a piercingly cold sword light? Those people from the war race trembled so much that they were unable to speak. The other sacred princes and heavenly talents were also startled. Even the top elite's eyelids were twitching. He felt that the energy was comparable to his unparalleled constitution. Kill! The top elite roared as he unleashed his full battle prowess and charged towards his opponent. He had no choice. His opponent's aura was too powerful, and it seemed to be constantly rising. He would not allow his opponent to surpass him. Therefore, he quickly charged over. His terrifying battle prowess did not require any divine abilities. Just a simple wave of his fist was enough to destroy everything. This power surpassed that of the top sacred princes. Was this the unparalleled battle constitution? It was indeed terrifying. He might even be able to contend with an invincible king. Indeed, There were probably not many people in the younger generation who were his match. Those experts discussed animatedly as their bodies trembled. Those top elites were even more focused on the battle. Boom, 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 boom. Lin Xian had transformed his body into a sword. Coupled with the power of the Jiuyang divine body, it was truly terrifying to the extreme. At this moment, the great dragon sword soul was unleashing its full power. It did not hold back at all. Every move carried a peerless sharpness. When the sword was unleashed, the void shattered. The war race's divine abilities were all destroyed by him. Not only that, the sword chi in the sky turned into a long dragon. The roars of the dragon shook the 9 heavens. Once the great dragon sword soul was unleashed, the sun and moon lost their light. Those people all prostrated themselves on the ground. Kill! Kill! The two of them engaged in an earth-shattering battle. The void shattered, the sun and moon trembled, and the galaxy spun. It was a scene of destruction. It was too terrifying. The battle prowess of these two people continued to soar, far surpassing that of the younger generation. The faces of the great Xia prince, No Flower, Gu Santong, and the others changed. Zhan Changfeng, the third prince, and the 9th prince were even more horrified. Was this Lin Xian's strength? It was too terrifying. Previously, they thought that they could compete with the other party and even kill him. But now, it seemed like that was not the case. If the other party had displayed such power right from the start, they would not be his match at all. They would not even be able to block a single sword strike. The number 1 genius of the war race had an unparalleled battle constitution and unparalleled battle prowess. But what did this kid have? The Jiuyang divine body? It should not be. With his Jiuyang divine body, he should not be able to unleash such terrifying power. There must be something wrong with his sword technique. Some living fossils were alarmed. They rushed over from afar to watch the battle personally. The battle between the two was too intense. They were both using extreme speed and terrifying power. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged more than 300 moves. The area within a radius of a few million miles was completely shattered. Not a single piece of space was intact. Lin Xian waved his ancient sword. Sword chi filled the sky and swept in all directions. On the other side, the number 1 genius had turned into a peerless war monarch. Not only that, he had also displayed a peerless divine ability, the 36 Dipper stars. Around him, 36 silhouettes appeared, forming a celestial diagram of destruction. It was too terrifying. The 36 figures combined with the peerless battle constitution. That aura was enough to make one despair. Lin Xian swung his ancient sword in all directions. In an instant, 36 dragon-shaped sword chi were formed and pierced towards the 36 blood-colored figures. The dragon source ancient sword turned into a peerless sword light and slashed towards the number 1 genius. An earth-shattering collision sound rang out. Sparks flew in the sky and thunder descended. However, all 36 sword chi were blocked. The power of the peerless battle constitution, combined with the 36 Dipper stars, was truly terrifying. It blocked the peerless dragon-shaped sword chi. Kill! With a roar, the number 1 genius power rose again. His entire body seemed to be about to merge with the 36 mysterious figures. His peerless treasure body flickered with extremely strange runes. That aura shattered the entire world. In the distance, the spectators kept trembling. Many people fainted from fright. Some people even exploded. The others felt their scalps go numb and quickly retreated. It was too terrifying. As expected of an ancient peerless battle constitution, his combat strength was extremely strong. No one in the same generation could contend against him. Yes, even an unparalleled king would not be able to display such power. No wonder it was called a battle constitution. It was simply born for battle. Chapter 2709. Lin Xian's body shone brightly as streams of sword chi pierced through the heavens and earth. Each sword chi had evolved to the extreme. It could destroy everything in the world. Lin Xian brandished his ancient sword and clashed with the 36 mysterious men. The dragon's roar reverberated through the air as Lin Xian swung his ancient sword. 2 heaven-defying constitutions. Every time they clashed, the void would shatter. Hundreds of thousands of lightning bolts would fall from the sky, and millions of mountains below would shatter. Our war tribe's #1 prodigy has a peerless battle physique that no one can break. Once the peerless battle physique is used, it's unparalleled in the world. The #1 prodigy is the true #1 of the younger generation. The people of the war tribe roared from the back. Their voices were like thunder. Those people trembled. Could it be that the #1 prodigy of the war tribe was already so terrifying? Even Lin Xian, with his powerful 9-yang divine physique, couldn't resist? The #1 prodigy was indeed terrifying. Many people knelt down. Sure enough, the 36 blood-colored vortexes formed a mysterious diagram and surrounded Lin Xian, drowning him completely. The 36 figures circled in the sky. Terrifying mysterious voices could be heard and terrifying runes floated. Lin Xian was completely suppressed. It's over. That kid is dead for sure. Many older generation figures sighed. Brother Xian, Brother Lin, Morong Qingcheng, Shenjingxiu, No Flower, Gu Santong, and the others exclaimed. In the distance, the other saints and princes were talking among themselves, screaming non-stop. Ha 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 ha. The people of the Yin-Yang sect, 5 Elements Palace, and 9 Heavens Holy Ground all revealed sinister smiles. The people of the war tribe laughed out loud. In the world, only the peerless battle physique is supreme. The #1 prodigy of the war tribe will sweep through the world and reach the peak. The people of the war tribe cheered wildly. The #1 prodigy of the war tribe snorted coldly. What, Lin Xian? How dare you use the title of Middle Emperor? In my opinion, you're just Esoto. Today I'll kill you completely. His body glowed with dazzling light, and the 36 blood-colored figures became even more mysterious. Their terrifying aura engulfed the world. This scene made everyone despair. They knew that Lin Xian was finished. Wang! Boom! Boom! Suddenly, a peerless immortal light lit up the area within a few million li. Everyone was dumbfounded. The 36 blood-colored vortexes formed a blood-colored battle map. Suddenly, it shook violently, and countless cracks appeared on it. It continued to expand until it was split into 2 halves. A peerless sword light radiated from the crack, illuminating the entire sky. The blood-red war map shattered into pieces, and a figure rushed out from the fragments. Lin Xian charged out of the war map with sword qi that filled the sky. He roared in all directions. 10,000 streaks of aura erupted, shattering the void. The entire scene became incomparably quiet. Everyone was completely stupefied. Damn it, this is impossible. The war race's people screamed crazily. Their eyes were completely red as they continuously shook their heads. They couldn't believe that Yi Futian was able to break the #1 prodigy's blood-colored war map. This was too inconceivable. The others were also filled with fear. That was a peerless battle physique. It was born for battle. Coupled with the war race's terrifying secret technique, the 36 heaven stars could suppress everything. No one could stop it. However, such a terrifying attack was still shattered by Lin Xian. This Lin Xian is too strong. We still underestimated him. I've already said that Lin Xian is definitely strong. His title of Middle Emperor is not for nothing. Just wait, he'll definitely win this round. Those who supported Lin Xian shouted excitedly. No flower. Gu Santong also heaved a sigh of relief. In the distance, Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu smiled through their tears. That's great. Big Brother Xian is fine. They were so nervous just now. The other experts of the older generation, and even the living fossils, all had serious expressions on their faces. He broke it. This kid actually broke the #1 heaven battle map. This was too unbelievable. Yes, the war race was incomparably terrifying. Their peerless battle physique had been famous since ancient times for their unparalleled battle strength. But now they were actually suppressed in terms of battle strength. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they wouldn't dare to believe it. How did that kid do it? Everyone was puzzled as they looked into the distance. In front of them, the blood-colored war map was shattered. The scattered fragments evaporated, forming a sea of blood that surged in the sky. It enveloped Lin Xian and the #1 prodigy. Bang! The sea of blood slapped and spread in all directions, piercing through the void. Dodge! Don't let the sea of blood touch you. This was the war race's peerless ability. The people in the distance screamed crazily and retreated again to increase the distance between them. What peerless battle physique! It's just SSO. What other tricks do you have? Use them all. Lin Xian looked ahead disdainfully. The great dragon sword soul in his body roared, and a dragon shadow flashed under his feet. At this moment, he was really incomparably powerful. Kid, you've completely angered me. The number one prodigy's face was gloomy. He didn't expect that his peerless ability would be broken by the other party. This was a slap to his face in public. His killing intent was aroused. He had to kill the other party. Whoosh! He opened his mouth and spat out a 9-story pagoda that spun in the sky. Countless runes flickered and directly shattered a part of the sky. The people in the distance were even more terrified. Many martial artists were directly pressed to the ground and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. The other prodigies, princes, and elders were also terrified. Damn it! Angry roars sounded one after another as these people used their peerless skills. The golden divine sword under the feet of the Prince of Great Xia bloomed with light. Seiko Dian instantly set up a sword array around himself. Morong Qingcheng and the others also used their own peerless skills to quickly retreat and resist. Saint's Might. Damn it, that pagoda actually has Saint's Might. Could it be that it's a saint's weapon? Heavens, could it be an intact saint's weapon? Those people screamed as if they had gone crazy. No, it's impossible for him to use an intact saint's weapon. It should be a half-saint artifact. The eyes of some living fossils flickered. A half-saint artifact. Hearing this, everyone heaved a sigh of relief, but they were still shocked. A half-saint artifact was in existence that surpassed a heaven-grade weapon. It was absolutely terrifying, because there was a wisp of saint's might condensed in it. Saint's might was in existence that surpassed the king realm. Even an invincible king would not dare to touch it easily. That mysterious and unfathomable power was far beyond their imagination. Now, the number one prodigy had taken out such a weapon, which filled them with despair. Damn it! The peerless battle physique was already so terrifying, and now he took out a half-saint artifact. Was he trying to defy the heavens? Indeed, with his current strength, he could kill an ordinary invincible king. They wondered what other trump cards Lin Xian had. If not, they would not be able to resist. Lin Xian frowned, and his eyes were gloomy. He did not expect that the other party would bring such a terrifying weapon. A half-saint artifact was even more powerful than a saint's fragment. Chapter 27:10. However, he had more than one saint fragment in his hands. If he used 2 more, he might be able to resist it. After all, no matter how strong his opponent was, it was only a half-step saint artifact. There was still a big gap between it and a true saint artifact. Kid, it's useless. Stop struggling. Even if you have the 9-young divine body, you're still too weak to resist my half-step saint artifact. As he spoke, the number one prodigy pushed the terrifying 9-story pagoda. The 9-story pagoda spun, emitting light in thousands of auras. Boom! The monstrous light enveloped a radius of millions of miles, crushing the air and forcing everyone to retreat. This was the power of a half-step saint artifact. It could only release a simple saint aura. If it was a true saint artifact, it would be even more terrifying. Don't you have the 9-young divine body? Don't you have the power of the purest yang? Today, I'll let you see what a true divine fire is. The number one prodigy sneered. With a wave of his hand, balls of flames flew out from the pagoda. They covered the sky and turned into a sea of fire that rushed forward. These were flames with saint aura. It was extremely terrifying, even more terrifying than the peerless sun. As soon as it appeared, it burned the void into nothingness. Oh no, that kid is in danger. Yes, no matter how strong the 9-young divine body is, he hasn't cultivated it to greater mastery. Not to mention greater mastery, he probably hasn't even reached lesser mastery. Without a few hundred years of cultivation, it's impossible to reach lesser mastery with such a divine body. To reach greater mastery, it'll probably take a few thousand years of cultivation. Yes, that kid is still too young. If he cultivates for another few hundred years and becomes an invincible king, he'll probably be able to sweep through everything. Many elders discussed. Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He could naturally feel how terrifying the power of these flames was. With his current 9-yang divine body, he probably wouldn't be able to resist it. However, he wouldn't sit still and wait for death. He took out the saint's hand bone and floated it above his head. Countless rays of light shone down and enveloped his body. He avoided being injured by the terrifying flames. At the same time, he took out Flower Protector, tore a corner of the seal, and shook it gently. The terrifying demonic sound waves spread out in all directions, like a sudden clap of thunder. They collided with the surrounding divine fire. Boom! Boom! A world-shaking thunder rumbled, and everything within a radius of several million li was completely shattered. Large cracks were everywhere, as if the world was about to be destroyed. Although it was only a small piece of the sage's hand bone, it was still the body of a sage. The sage aura it contained was absolutely terrifying. The Flower Protector in his hand was a famous peerless killing weapon in the ancient times. Yi Shiwen couldn't tear open the seals of these two weapons at present. However, the power that he could unleash now was enough to contend against the opponent's semi-sage tool. After all, the other party was not a true half-saint. Like him, he was only an almighty. An intense collision rang out. Everyone retreated once again. They didn't dare to watch the battle any longer. There were peerless experts who set up terrifying formations that floated above the 9 heavens, transmitting these scenes over. And these people were basically pushed thousands of miles away. There was no other way. The two's attacks were too fierce. Unless they also took out a saint's fragment or a half-saint item to defend themselves, they wouldn't be able to do anything. However, they were only here to watch the battle. They wouldn't risk their lives like this. Sure enough, there was a super expert using a treasure. Although they were thousands of miles away, they could still clearly see the situation of the battle. It was too terrifying. Lin Xian was actually not at a disadvantage against a half-saint item. That was natural. Don't forget that he was the master of the Immortal Palace. He had many treasures. Moreover, he had obtained many good things in the saint's ancient tomb that were enough to resist a half-saint item. Damn it, he actually blocked it. The number 1 genius face was gloomy. He didn't expect the other party's trump card to be so strong. Thinking of this, a strong killing intent appeared in his eyes. No, he had to get rid of the other party. He had to get the title of Central Emperor. An extremely terrifying light appeared on his body. His peerless battle physique erupted again. The pagoda in his hand was pushed to the extreme. Rays of light burst out, and the terrifying divine fire covered the sky and earth. Lin Xian was also angry. He fully activated his 9-yang divine body, and the great dragon sword soul didn't hold back. His combat strength was constantly rising. It directly surpassed the peerless battle physique. The 2 great killing weapons in his hand were operating crazily. His 9-yang divine body suffered the consequences and attacked like a madman. Sure enough, under the effect of the great dragon sword soul's heaven-defying power, the 2 great killing weapons also erupted with an incomparable aura. Their power had increased. It was unbelievable. The divine fire that filled the sky was directly extinguished by the terrifying sound waves. Not only that, the sound waves and the saint's hand bone formed a terrifying sword light that collided with the 9-story pagoda. The pagoda trembled non-stop, and its light dimmed. Puffed! The shocking change in Lin Xian's increase in strength made the number 1 genius unable to react before he was directly sent flying. He vomited large mouthfuls of blood, and countless cracks appeared on his body. It couldn't be helped. The consequences of a half-step saint artifact were too terrifying. Even with his current peerless battle physique, he probably couldn't withstand it. Damn it! A hint of anger appeared in the number 1 genius' eyes, but it was more of fear. His opponent's strength was too strong, especially now that his combat strength had surpassed his. He couldn't fight his opponent head-on anymore. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to withstand the impact of this power. In the next moment, he held the 9-story pagoda in his hand and used lightning eclipse to quickly move in the sky. He wanted to distance himself and recover from his injuries. You want to leave? Stay here for me. Seeing that the other party was far away, Lin Xian snorted coldly. He used the Yin Yang 8 steps and teleported, chasing after him. How could he let such a good opportunity go? The other party was a peerless enemy. If he had the chance today, he had to kill him. The two of them flew quickly in the sky, one in front and one behind. Seeing this scene, the martial artists thousands of miles away were all stunned. Their eyes widened in disbelief. Oh God, what did I just see? The number one genius was defeated, and he was still running away. Damn it! Didn't the number one genius take out a half-step saint artifact? It could kill an ordinary invincible king. How could it be? What did that kid do? How could he be so powerful? What trump card did he take out? Could it be a real saint artifact? I don't know. The light just now was too strong, and it was surrounded by saint's aura. We couldn't see through it. Those people of the older generation also had anxious expressions on their faces. The people of the Yin-Yang sect, the Five Elements Palace, and the Nine Firmaments Divine Emperor were stunned. Their eyes widened, and their faces were filled with fear. The people of the War Tribe screamed crazily. Impossible! How could our number one genius be defeated? That's right, this is an illusion. It must be an illusion. I don't believe it. The number one genius must be using a strategy to lure his opponent to death. These people's faces were filled with madness as they kept shaking their heads. They couldn't accept the fact that the number one genius had been defeated. Chapter 27:11. In the sky, the two figures were extremely fast. The first Sky Sex Thunder movement was a bloodline secret divine power. Ordinary invincible kings couldn't keep up with it. As for Lin Xian, he had just fused two peerless footwork techniques and created the Yin-Yang 8 steps. His speed wasn't slower than the first Sky Sex Thunder movement at all. Not only that, Lin Xian even took out the dragon sword soul and held it in his hand. With a boom, the dragon-shaped sword shadow enlarged and turned into a giant sword that was tens of thousands of feet long. It slashed forward. It was as if a giant dragon had been resurrected. The endless mountains in front of him collapsed, and the sky was cut in half. The entire world began to shake. The sword slashed down, and the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Damn it, block it! Seeing this scene, the first Sky Sex pupils constricted because the dragon-shaped sword shadow gave him goosebumps all over his body, and the blood in his body surged. He felt that if he faced it head-on, his peerless body would definitely not be able to block it. Even his unparalleled battle constitution was trembling under such combat power. He didn't know what it was that could surpass his peerless body, but now he couldn't care less. He had to block it quickly. With a wave of his hand, the pagoda floated and enveloped him. Clang! The sword slashed on the 9-story pagoda and made an earth-shattering sound. The void in all directions shattered. The first Sky Sex top prodigy was hit by the aftershock of the energy. He was sent flying and vomited blood. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the saint's hand bone floated above his head to protect him. Flower Protector flew out and fought against the 9-story pagoda. He also slashed out the dragon-shaped sword shadow from time to time, trying to knock the pagoda away. Damn it! Block it! The first Sky Sex top prodigy roared crazily. He activated the 36 heavenly spirits and activated the 9-story pagoda at all costs. In the distance, the martial artists were all stunned when they saw this scene. The first Sky Sex top prodigy was being chased and beaten. He was even vomiting blood and injured. Lin Xian was really terrifying. Yes, who would have thought that the first Sky Sex top prodigy would be defeated in the end? It was really surprising. Would the first Sky Sex top prodigy be killed? Would that brat really dare to make a move? The position of the number one genius in the battle race was not any lower than Yi Wadeo's position in the Yi family. If the number one genius was killed, the battle race would definitely go crazy. That brat probably wouldn't dare. Everyone was talking about it. No, those battle race martial artists rushed up like madmen, wanting to rescue them. However, they had only flown a few 100,000 feet when they were swept away by the energy shockwave and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. With their current strength, it was impossible for them to go over. After all, it wasn't just the power of the two of them anymore. It was the power of the half-saint tool and the saint's fragment at full power. It was impossible for them to resist such power. Don't run. You can't get away. Lin Xian snorted and activated his Tianji divine eyes. In the sky, a pair of golden eyes looked down and activated the floating light secret technique. Wang, the number one genius, was struck by an illusion. However, he recovered quickly. However, Lin Xian managed to grasp the opportunity in that split second. Flower Protector directly knocked the 9-story pagoda away. The number one prodigy was completely exposed in front of Lin Xian. Humph. Let's see what you can do without the half-saint tool. Damn it, not good. The number one prodigy's expression became extremely ugly. He didn't expect the other party to use a soul attack. He hurriedly took out a piece of jade and suspended it on his forehead, afraid that he would be struck by an illusion again. At the same time, he gritted his teeth. This brat is going too far. As he spoke, he went crazy. He didn't care about the price and even burned his bloodline power to activate his peerless battle physique. His strength rose again. The world was enveloped by his light. Today, I'll let you see the true power of a peerless battle. Is that so? Today, I'll let you see what peerless battle strength is. Lin Xian held the dragon-shaped sword shadow with both hands. The 9-yang divine body erupted with unparalleled power. The dragon sword soul roared again and again, shaking the 9 heavens. Dragon soul slash. The terrifying sword light surged through the 9 heavens. The experts thousands of miles away trembled and prostrated on the ground, unable to raise their heads. It was too terrifying. The saints and saintesses also retreated, their bodies bloomed with light to resist. In front of them, the apocalyptic scene lasted for a long time. Between heaven and earth, 108,000 sword chi streaked across. In the end, it slowly dissipated. The moment it dissipated, the people of the war tribe couldn't wait any longer. They rushed over crazily. Let's go and take a look. The other princes, prodigies, and experts also moved and flew forward. They felt that the bombs were almost used up. It should be safe to go there now. When they flew 2 million miles, the light in front of them finally dissipated. However, they didn't fly anymore. Instead, they were stunned in the sky. Many people trembled, rolled their eyes, and fainted. The others' expressions changed drastically, and their bodies trembled. The people of the war tribe screamed crazily like wild dogs. Impossible! What did they see? In front of them, the number one prodigy's body was split in half. The number one prodigy was split in half. Blood dyed the sky red, and the 9-story pagoda beside him was dim. The number one prodigy was split in half. Heavens, he actually killed the number one prodigy. The saints and princes were stunned. That was the number one prodigy. The peerless battle physique, the unparalleled battle physique of the ancient times. When it reappeared in the world, it should have reached the peak and illuminated the ages. But now it was split in half by a sword. No one dared to believe it. Their minds were blank, and the surroundings were dead silent. How could this kid be so powerful? He could even split the number one prodigy. The people of the Yin-Yang sect, 5 Elements Palace, and 9 Heavens sacred ground trembled. They didn't even dare to breathe loudly. They even wanted to run away now. But in order to not attract the other party's attention, they could only tremble on the spot. The 3rd prince, 9th prince, Great Xia prince, and No Flower stared at the peerless saints and princes in shock. Big brother Xianwen, Morong Qingqing and Shun Qingqiu also opened their cherry mouths in disbelief. The older generation figures, peerless experts, and living fossils were even more stunned. Because it was too unbelievable. According to their speculations, both of them had heaven-defying physiques. But because Lin Xian had only obtained the 9-yang divine physique for a short time, his combat strength was definitely inferior to the number one prodigy. In addition, the number one prodigy's battle physique was mainly known for its peerless attack power. Therefore, Lin Xian was definitely not a match for the number one prodigy. They speculated that Lin Xian would not be killed with the 9-yang divine physique, but it was normal for him to lose. But the result? The peerless battle physique was split in half by the other party. This caused everyone to be stunned. There was actually someone who could defeat the peerless battle physique in combat strength. What was it? What did the other party use? Chapter 27:12. No, this was impossible. The people from the war race went even crazier. That was their number one genius. He had never been defeated since his debut. In recent years he had swept through the true spirit world. Apart from Yi Wudao and the Alcate Saint, the number one genius had fought many peerless geniuses in the past few years. However, he had easily defeated them. Once he used his peerless body, nothing could stop him. But now, not only had he been defeated, but he had also been killed. How could they explain this? The battle tribe would probably go crazy. Thinking of this, the battle tribe warriors all knelt on the ground and roared at the sky. You dare to kill our number one genius? You're dead. Kid, our battle tribe will never let you go. These people stared at Lin Xian, as if they had gone crazy. Xian snorted coldly. He stood in the void, his black hair fluttering in the wind. The biting cold sword energy on his body was still there. He looked down, causing the martial artist standing below to vomit blood. It was too sharp. A single look from him could kill them. No, that didn't seem to be his real body. It was a clone. Finally, a living fossil cried out in alarm. His eyes emitted mysterious runes as he stared at the corpse in the sky that had been cut in half. What? Hearing this, the older generation, saints, and other geniuses all turned to look. Was it really a clone? Why couldn't they see it? It clearly had flesh, blood, and organs. How could it be a clone? Yes, wasn't a clone condensed from energy? Wouldn't it dissipate after death? This clone didn't have that either. A clone with a peerless body is different from the one you know. This is a clone condensed from bloodline power. Its combat strength wasn't weaker than the main Bodis, and it also had a peerless body. It was just equivalent to having 2 more lives. If the clone was killed, the main body wouldn't be affected. What, there was such a thing? The Grand Xia Prince and the others gasped. Did the battle tribe have such a heaven-defying ability? All of a sudden, they all looked at the battle tribe warriors. The experts of the war tribe were also trembling with excitement. Yes, it was a clone. The number one genius had cultivated a clone. It wasn't the main body. Great. They heaved a sigh of relief. Although the number one prodigy had been defeated, and they were surprised and upset, they still had hope as long as their true bodies were not killed. If even a clone is this powerful, doesn't that mean the number one heaven's favorite's original form is already heaven-defying? Lin Xian probably wouldn't be able to withstand the attack of the enemy's true body. That's right. The other martial artists were shocked. However, a living fossil shook its head. No, you guessed wrong. Even though the true body of the number one genius was strong, it wasn't that much stronger than this clone. After all, he had spent a great deal of effort and the power of his bloodline to refine the clone. It already possessed a lot-defying flesh. Therefore, even if the true body of the number one prodigy was here, it was hard to say who would win if he fought with Lin Xian. What? So this was the situation. Hearing this, everyone understood. This clone was not much different from the true body of the number one genius. Lin Xian was indeed incomparably terrifying. Humph. A doppelganger. Lin Xian snorted coldly. It seemed that the number one prodigy was still alive. But so what? If he dared to come, Lin Xian would kill him with his sword. The combat power of the main body, and the clone was not much different. Therefore, even if the opponent's true body came, Lin Xian was not afraid. He waved his sword and slashed at the 9-story pagoda. The saint's hand lock and flower protector attacked, causing the pagoda's light to dim. Lin Xian took out a set of array formations and directly enveloped the 9-story pagoda before putting it away. No. Damn brat, how dare you? The people of the war tribe were furious and roared crazily. The pagoda was a half-step sage artifact with terrifying power. It was their precious treasure. Now it was snatched away by someone else. How could they tolerate it? However, in the next moment, these people were sent flying. Lin Xian's gaze made them tremble again. Go back and tell your number one heaven stage cultivator to come here and die. Lin Xian's cold voice resounded through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Those people's scalps went numb. This matter swept out like a gust of wind. In an instant, everyone in the central continent knew about it. Before long, everyone in the true spirit world knew about it. When they heard that the number one heaven's pride had been killed, They were extremely shocked. When they learned that it was only a clone that had been killed, they were all stupefied. When they learned that the strength of the clone was no weaker than the main body, they all boiled over. This was equivalent to the number one heaven's pride dying once. Even if the main body went, he might not be able to defeat the other party. As expected of the Central Emperor, had he already defied the heavens to such an extent? That was a peerless battle physique. It was famous in ancient times, and it was born for battle. Yet it had been killed by the other party. For a moment, the discussion about Lin Xian was very intense. His limelight directly overshadowed Yi Wudao, South Emperor, West Buddha and the others. It could be said that he had become the most dazzling peerless genius on the true spirit continent. The array masters far away in the Qinling Mountains, the elders of the great sage land, and the saint lords also heard the news. They were all shocked. The dark red dragon, the chief enforcer, and the others cried out in surprise. And then they all laughed. Was this brat already this strong? The dark red dragon was very happy. Damn it, they had to hurry up and break the array. The other great sects also sucked in a breath of cold air. They looked at the people of Immortal Palace with extreme shock. The elders of the battle race were so angry that they vomited blood. 2 of them directly fainted. Damn it, our number one heaven's pride didn't lose. That's right, the one killed was a clone. Our number one heaven's pride's main body is much stronger than the clone. The battle race martial artists gnashed their teeth. However, there were also many people who sneered. Ah bah, strong my ass. There was a living fossil that told us about this long ago. The strength of the clone and the main body were not much different. Even if the main body was strong, it wouldn't be too heaven-defying. That's right, get your number one heaven's pride to come out. Look at our great god Lin Xian. He won't be able to defeat him. Lin Xian's battle had gained him many admirers. These people were all young martial artists. They yearned for heaven's pride, yearned for heroes, and yearned for the peak of martial Tao. Lin Xian had defeated the number one heaven's pride, and his fame was like the sun. These small martial artists worshipped him greatly. Therefore, at this moment, when they heard the clamor of the battle race people, they fought back crazily. What number one heaven's pride? You're not our great god Lin Xian's opponent at all. That's right, our great god Lin Xian is the Central Emperor. You're the number one heaven's pride. But can you get the title of Central Emperor? The person who ranked this was truly a genius. He was probably a peerless figure, who understood the past and present. He had already ranked this long ago. So, what number one heaven's pride? Stop struggling. All kinds of mocking words rang out, and the battle race martial artists directly vomited blood. Chapter 27:13. This was a slap in the face, a slap in the face. The people from the war tribe were also surprised. They hadn't reacted yet, but these cultivators had spontaneously helped them. It was really surprising. Lin Xian was also dumbfounded when he saw this. Brother Xian, it seems that you've gained a lot of supporters. Morong Qingqing covered her mouth and chuckled. Shin Jingqiu ran over and pulled Lin Xian's hand. Brother Lin Xian, I'm your biggest supporter. Although the battle was over, the discussion never dissipated. Instead, it became more and more intense. In the Yi family, Yi Wudao was also surprised when he heard the news. Brother Lin, you're already so strong? I'm really looking forward to fighting with you. His eyes shone brightly. He also wanted to fight with this peerless physique. He was originally a sacred physique, and his name shook the continent. Of course, there were other physiques on the same level as him, such as the Nine-Yang divine physique. They were all famous physiques. However, these physiques were very heaven-defying. For thousands of years, it was unknown how many of them had appeared. It was rare for them to appear at the same time. This time, 3 of them appeared at the same time. The coexistence of 3 divine physiques made many of the older generation exclaim. The golden age had really arrived. When the Alcate Saint received the news, his body also bloomed with bright light. Lin Xian, the number one genius. His eyes were also full of fighting spirit. In the vast mountains, the mysterious blue-robed man was sitting there. When he heard the news, he also frowned. It was really surprising that he could defeat the number one genius. To be honest, he was very surprised. Although the other party had the 9 Yang divine physique, he didn't think that the other party could maintain the title of Middle Emperor. The reason why he had placed Qin Nan in such a position was so that the number 1 genius would be able to kill him. But now, the other party's combat strength was really beyond his expectations. This guy must have secrets that we don't know. He must find out. Apart from the 9 Yang divine physique, what other secrets did he have? The mysterious blue-robed man's eyes were gloomy. All sorts of discussions continued. Lin Xian did not leave. He had already sent out an invitation to the world group to battle. Therefore, even though he had defeated the number 1 prodigy, he had no intention of leaving. However, he was surprised to see that the geniuses from other continents had rushed over. There were many powerful experts, but none of them made a move. There was nothing they could do about it. Previously, when they came here, they were full of confidence, thinking that they could kill the Central Emperor. However, when they arrived and learned that the number 1 prodigy had been killed, they all hesitated, terrified. That was a peerless battle constitution. If they couldn't even defeat the other party, would they have any chance of winning? These people didn't make a move, they just waited silently. More and more saints gathered in the middle ground. This made all the martial artists excited. They were all discussing whether there was a genius who was even more terrifying than the number 1 genius. The number 1 genius was already at the top of the younger generation. There weren't many who were stronger than him, but there were a few who were on par with him. The Dao-Yi saint of the Dao-Yi Holy Land was rumored to have a mysterious physique that could fuse with the Dao. Although he didn't fight much, no one dared to underestimate him. Yes, the Alcate saint was also extremely terrifying. In the eastern wilderness, he was as famous as the saint physique. The Jade Lake Saintess and Zixia Saintess were also rumored to have mysterious bloodlines. However, they had an extraordinary relationship with Lin Xian, so it was impossible for them to fight. In the middle ground, the prince of the skyscraper was extremely powerful. Although he came, he didn't make a move. However, I guess his strength is not weaker than the number 1 genius. Yes, the 9th crown prince of the 9th dynasty also has a terrifying divine physique. The divine Wen dynasty's goddess. It was rumored that she was extremely mysterious and had never been defeated so far. There were also some hidden families and ancient sects that didn't appear. The world was too vast, and there were countless experts. No one knew when one would appear. Indeed, he had heard of Central Emperor Lin Xian before. It was a new force that had emerged in recent years. Who knew if another heaven-defying monster like this would appear in a few years' time? Everyone was discussing animatedly, and some nosy people were screaming, "I really hope that these titled geniuses will fight. Yes, I want to see who is stronger between the divine physique and the divine physique of 9 Yang. I want to see what kind of mysterious person the North Demon is. I heard that the South Emperor had obtained the inheritance of a great emperor. I wonder if he is stronger than the Central Emperor and the Eastern Sage. I don't know, but I think that guy from the West Buddha is more terrifying. He is the reincarnation of an ancient Buddha." The crowd was in a heated discussion. They realized that none of the 5 titled battle pet warriors would be able to tell who was more powerful until the battle began. Everyone was discussing as they waited. About 5 or 6 days later, the sky suddenly rolled. Half of the demonic aura and the other half of the holy light illuminated the sky. It was as if a demon had come out. Heavens, what a terrifying aura. Who is it? A terrifying genius has arrived. It's the twin kings of the middle ground. He actually appeared again. Wasn't he defeated by Lin Xian before? That was indeed the case. However, from the looks of it, he should have come out of seclusion. His current aura was much more powerful than before. Speaking of which, the twin kings were also monsters. The power of light and darkness went hand in hand. If they could perfectly fuse, they would definitely be a terrifying enemy. That's right. The people who came were indeed the twin kings of the middle ground. They had directly broken through to the level of a top saint during their seclusion. Moreover, they had also mastered a powerful technique, which was to fuse their power attributes and form a picture of light and darkness. Its power was incomparably terrifying. Therefore, they were very confident this time and came to challenge Lin Xian. "Kid, I'm here again. Die obediently. The moment the twin kings of the middle ground arrived, they looked around disdainfully and stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly. You don't know what's good for you. It seems that you don't repent after I spared you last time. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being impolite. Lin Xian stood up. The others were discussing spiritedly. Can the twin kings of the middle ground win? I don't think so. Even the number one genius was split in half, let alone them. What? The number one genius was split in half. Hearing that, the twin kings were stunned. They did not immediately attack. Instead, they looked around. What did you say? When did that happen? The surrounding people trembled. They were no match for the twin kings, so they quickly told them what happened. After the twin kings heard that, their expressions became extremely ugly. They were even about to cry. That was because they had fought with the number one genius before, and they were completely defeated at that time. They were no match for him on the first day. But now, the number one genius was actually split in half by the kid in front of them. Didn't that mean that if the kid wanted to kill them, it would only take a single sword strike? Chapter 27:14. Wait. Hearing that, Lin Xian frowned. What's that guy doing? The others were also very puzzled. Countless gazes looked at the middle ground twin kings. The twin kings' expressions were ugly. They wished they could find a piece of tofu and kill themselves. However, they did not want to be killed. Well, we've come to the wrong battlefield. We're not looking for you this time. Goodbye. As he said that, he turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the void. He left. Everyone's minds went blank. They could not react. What's going on? The twin kings came aggressively, but they left without making a single move? They were probably scared off by the news of the number one prodigy. That's what I think. Humph. How dare you challenge our great god Lin Xian with this kind of strength? You really don't know what's good for you. Lin Xian's supporters sneered. The others were also stunned. It seemed that they were really scared off. Even Lin Xian's mouth twitched. That works too. That doesn't match their personalities? In his opinion, the poisoned twin kings were very violent, cruel, and not very smart. Even if they knew it was dangerous, they would still fight with their lives on the line. He did not expect them to be afraid of death. How could he know that the battle between him and the number one prodigy was too shocking? Probably not many people dared to attack him now. Next 1 month, 2 months. Lin Xian kept waiting. However, no one had ever made a move against him. This made him feel a little bored. In the end, he stood up. Since no one attacked him leaving, everyone looked at each other, but in the end, no one dared to attack. Lin Xian was too domineering. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian also shook his head and left. He brought Xin Jingqiu and Murong Qingqing back to the Immortal Palace. Anyway, these two were his women, and they were not outsiders. After Lin Xian left, the other saints and prodigies also left. Battle Tribe. In a cave abode, a figure opened his eyes. His body was shining with light and an incomparably mysterious aura. He was officially the number one prodigy. However, at this moment, his expression was abnormally malevolent, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. A boom could be heard as he charged out of the immortal's cave, throwing his head back and roaring. That damned Lin Xian. I'll kill you. I will definitely kill you. Naturally, he knew that his clone had been killed. However, he didn't expect that his clone would actually be killed. One had to know that it wasn't an ordinary clone. It was equivalent to his life. More importantly, it was a clone. What he practiced was an extremely terrifying cultivation technique, and this clone was extremely important to him. But now, he was actually killed, making him fall short of success. In the end, he was unable to master the divine art. He was driven mad. He swore that he would definitely kill the other party, cut the other party into 1,000 pieces, to relieve the hatred in his heart. However, now was not the time. Because he was suffering from the backlash of the technique, he needed to recuperate and recover from his injuries. Just you wait. When I come out of seclusion, it will be the time of your death. The number one heaven's chosen gritted his teeth and returned to his cave abode. The people of the war tribe also had gloomy expressions. They all wanted to send out invincible kings to kill the other party. Not only them, But the other powerful forces, and those who had a grudge against Lin Xian, also wanted to send invincible kings to kill him. There was no other way. Lin Xian had displayed the potential of a young great emperor. If such a person continued to grow, his future would be limitless. If he really became a great emperor, then those sacred grounds and sects that had offended him before would probably be directly erased. That was something they couldn't bear. Therefore, they wanted to kill him. However, the invincible kings they sent out were directly killed before they could find Lin Xian. Even their souls couldn't escape. This scene made all the sacred grounds who wanted to kill him tremble. Damn it, there was a peerless expert protecting him. Perhaps in the future, even if they wanted to kill him, they would have to do it secretly. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to hurt him at all. Instead, they would be killed by the experts around him. In the blink of an eye, another year had passed. In this year, the reputation of Lin Xian and the other four swept across the continent. However, in this year, no one dared to challenge the five of them. Lin Xian, Morong Qingqing, and Shen Jingqiu stayed for 2 months. Then he went into seclusion. Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu also went into seclusion. This was a golden age. They had to increase their strength to survive in this golden age. Otherwise, they would only become a stepping stone for others. After Lin Xian went into seclusion, he took out the 9-story pagoda and used the heavenly secret god eyes to forcefully erase the other party's soul imprint. Then he planted his own soul imprint. The 9-story pagoda's power was terrifying. If he didn't have the saint's hand lock and flower protector, it would be difficult for him to block it. In the future, with this item, his trump card would be even stronger. Moreover, the flames in the pagoda made him even more tempted. This item was the best treasure to temper the 9-yang divine body. This divine fire was a great threat to him in the past. With his current physique, he couldn't completely resist it. However, he could rely on the divine fire to increase the power of his physique. Next, Lin Xian waved his hand, and the 9-story pagoda continued to expand. He entered the first level and was enveloped by endless flames. The flames were too terrifying. They directly burned Lin Xian's skin and flesh, causing him to bleed profusely. If anyone saw this scene, they would definitely faint from shock. This was the process of cultivating the 9-yang divine body. It was too cruel, too cruel. However, his power was also very strong. Sure enough, Lin Xian circulated the cultivation laws of the 9-yang divine body. Those broken bodies slowly healed. Moreover, they became even stronger. It was overflowing with light. However, his body soon split open again and then recovered. Just like that, he cultivated over and over again. Every time he recovered, his physique would become a little stronger. He slowly set off towards the 6th stage of the first level. A year later, Immortal Palace received news from Qinling Mountain. The elders in Immortal Palace were extremely shocked and hurriedly sent a message to Lin Xian. Lin Xian slowly walked out of the 3rd level of the 9-story pagoda. The aura on his body had become even stronger. In this year, countless fractures and recoveries had caused his divine body to finally advance by another stage, reaching the 6th stage of the 1st level. Palace Master, there's news from the front. Those elders quickly reported. Lin Xian walked out, put on a black Taoist robe, and came to the Star Palace. He received the news from the front, and his eyes burned with a fiery light. Has it been opened? According to our investigation, the nest of 10,000 dragons is very large. Other than the nest of 10,000 dragons itself, there are several other nests guarding it. Thinking about it, they should be the guardians of the dragons. Right now, we are opening the tomb of one of the guardians, not the nest of 10,000 dragons. However, according to our speculation, the tomb of this guardian is also very powerful, not weaker than the tomb of the saint from before. There are actually guardians. Moreover, the guardians are so powerful. As expected of the nest of 10,000 dragons, the place where dragons gather. Chapter 27:15. Even if it was a guardian's lair, they wouldn't miss it. After all, anything related to the nest of 10,000 dragons was definitely shocking. It wasn't just Immortal Palace. At this moment, all the holy lands and top organizations in the true spirit world received the news from Qinling Mountain. They were all excited as they reorganized their troops and prepared to set off for Qinling Mountain. The world was once again in an uproar. Qinling Mountain, the dark red dragon, and the others raised their heads and looked ahead at the lair that was blooming with light. Their eyes flickered. So far, we have detected 5 guardians' lairs, and this is only the first guardian. The nest of 10,000 dragons is really shocking. Yes, it would take several years just to crack these guardians' ancient tombs. Opening the nest of 10,000 dragons would probably take even longer. Even if it takes 100 years or 200 years, we must get it out. This is definitely an endless treasure. If we get it, we will be rich. These array masters and elders were filled with excitement. Crack. Crack. In the sky, countless large cracks flickered as Tao patterns gathered, forming a terrifying black vortex. In that vortex, figures appeared one after another. These people were naturally the powerhouses from the great sage world's major sects that had rushed over. They quickly landed and met up with the cultivators from their holy lands. Palace Master, the Great Guardian, and the others also saw Lin Xian and hurriedly greeted him. Lin Xian landed with a group of powerhouses from Immortal Palace, and the dark red dragon also walked up. Kid, your aura has become stronger again. How is it? Which guardian's lair has been opened? Lin Xian said with a smile. In the distance, the dark red dragon flew up and pointed ahead. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as a golden light appeared in his eyes as he looked into the distance. Then he was extremely surprised. What dense spiritual energy! That's right, this was still overflowing. One could imagine how dense the spiritual energy inside was. However, the dark red dragon sighed. Damn it, I can't go. I have to preside over the array formation here and continue to crack it. Don't worry, if there are treasures, I will definitely get them for you, Lin Xian said. The dark red divine dragon nodded. Indeed, although the guardian's nest was tempting, its ultimate goal was still the nest of 10,000 dragons. He was not the only one. Most of the array masters had not left. They were still trying their best to crack the array. The Holy Land powerhouses who had rushed over were all preparing to enter. Let's go. Seeing the black holes in the sky, Lin Xian didn't hesitate. With a wave of his hand, he led a few protectors and a group of experts in. After entering, he dragged the little white monkey out. The little white monkey was the best at finding treasures. One's own lineage. As soon as the little white monkey came out, it danced with joy and excitement. The others were even more shocked. What a rich spiritual energy. I can feel the chi and blood in my body boiling. Ha! As expected of a land of treasures, it was indeed powerful. The martialist who came in laughed maniacally. The saints were also shocked. Ha 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 ha, I won't hold back anymore. A young man in luxurious clothes looked up to the sky and laughed. Devouring the starry sky. Above his head, a chaotic starry sky appeared and quickly turned into a vortex, madly devouring the surrounding spirit chi. Look at me. Another powerhouse transformed into 9 tiger heads and crazily absorbed the spirit chi. Everyone used their ultimate skills and crazily absorbed the spirit chi here. Lin Xian also started. In the dragon sword domain, a dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared and also absorbed a large amount of energy. Previously, Lin Xian could only improve slowly. However, in such a place with so many treasures, he wouldn't hold back. The longevity art in his body was fully activated. All the spiritual energy was focused on the great dragon sword soul. The great dragon sword soul let out a loud dragon roar. It was as if it had come alive and kept moving. It even began to absorb the spirit chi himself. As he absorbed the spiritual energy, all the spiritual energy in the surroundings turned into waves and swept towards him. This scene was too terrifying. It shocked the surrounding people, and they all roared. Damn it, who dares to steal my spirit chi? Don't let me find out, or it'll wring your head off. Stop it. Angry roars sounded one after another. Everyone looked around. Soon they found the source. It's that guy. Damn it. What kind of skill did he use to absorb the spirit chi so violently? I'm affected by him. Damn it, I can't absorb the spirit chi either. Go kill him. Angry roars sounded one after another. Among them, there were many supreme powerhouses and geniuses. However, when they came to the side of the figure, they were so scared that they trembled and almost fell from the sky. What, it's him? It's actually him. Damn it, it's Lin Xian of the Central Emperor. Run. Don't do anything to him, or we'll be dead. These people retreated crazily, their faces full of fear. Lin Xian turned his head and looked at these people coldly. Then he said indifferently, "Is there a problem?" No. These people hurriedly shook their heads. Previously they were aggressive, but now they were as docile as lambs. "Sir Central Emperor, we didn't disturb your cultivation, did we? Well, leave now." Yes, we'll go to other places to absorb the spirit qi. Sir Central Emperor, please don't worry about us." These people hurriedly fled. In an instant, except for the martial artists of Immortal Palace, everyone else around Lin Xian left. No one dared to stay by Lin Xian's side. This made Lin Xian very satisfied. The martial artists of Immortal Palace were shocked. Many of them had been in Immortal Palace all this time. Although they had heard of Lin Xian's battle achievements, they were still shocked when they saw it with their own eyes. The palace master was so impressive. No one dared to provoke the palace master now. The palace master didn't even need to make a move. Just a look was enough to scare these powerhouses away. They were too excited. Lin Xian waved his hand and said, "Everyone start absorbing. We'll absorb as we go." Indeed, the spirit qi here was rich and fragrant. There were also other treasures. After Lin Xian and the others left, more and more people came in. Dian Sacred Ground, Four Symbols Sacred Ground, Dao Yi Sacred Ground, White Horse Temple, Orchid Temple, Myriad Buddha Temple, Myriad Poison Cult, Wang Family, Du Family, Zhao Family, Demon Imperial Palace, Tai Dynasty, and so on. All the top forces had sent experts and geniuses. As soon as they came in, they were wild with joy. Too terrifying spirit qi. Hurry up and absorb. Set off quickly. There were definitely shocking treasures ahead. These people moved quickly. They were like locusts, blotting out the sky and covering the earth as they flew past. With more treasures, there were more people, so there was more friction. Finally, someone couldn't help but make a move. In front, there was a fiery wind tree. Divine flames jumped on it, followed by fiery phoenix fruits that looked like real phoenixes. This was a spiritual object of heaven and earth. It had rich fire attribute and powerful strength. It could be said to be extinct in the outside world. Unexpectedly, it appeared here. Moreover, there were hundreds of them. Chapter 27:16. Sizzle. Ah! Screams rang out as dozens of cultivators turned into white smoke and fell from the sky. However, halfway through, they had completely melted. What terrifying corrosion! Who was using poison? In the distance, those people were terrified. They all activated their king domains to cover their bodies. The light from their bodies pierced through the surroundings. Damn it, who is it? Get out here! Haha, a bunch of ants dared to target the firewind tree? More than a dozen black-robed men walked out. The one in front was a black-robed youth. He was handsome and had a devilish expression. He was playing with a purple centipede in his hand, and there were a few poisonous snakes coiling around his body. The Poison Sect. The Poison Sect Saint. Their pupils constricted. Since you know that our saint has arrived, why aren't you scramming? The Poison Sect's people shouted coldly. The firewind tree is ours. So what if you're the Poison Sect's saint? Do you really think we're afraid of you? We were careless before. That's right, we have more people. I don't believe that we can't defeat you. There were many cultivators from the sacred grounds who had joined forces, and there were many peerless experts among them. They snorted coldly and all stood out. The Poison Sect's saint was not enough to make them retreat. After all, the firewind tree could no longer be found outside. It would be a great loss if they missed this opportunity. Heaven's Thunder Palm. An expert walked out and sent out a palm. Thunder rumbled. Behind him, there was even an endless sea of lightning. This palm was too terrifying. It covered the sky and covered a part of the sky. It even covered a few fiery wind trees. 9 Heaven's Divine Sword. Someone waved his sword, and sword light flashed in the sky. It was as if divine light had descended from the 9 heavens. It was extremely terrifying. In an instant, many powerhouses made their moves, all of them charging towards the myriad poison order. The poison sect's people snorted, and the poison sect's saint smiled coldly. You don't know what's good for you. I'll send you to hell. Baby, it's up to you. Facing the terrifying attacks, the poison sect's saint did not move. Instead, he spoke to the purple centipede in his palm. The purple centipede was very intelligent. When it heard this, it turned into purple lightning and instantly charged out. Puff, puff, puff. Soon screams sounded. The surrounding cultivators all widened their eyes, and their bodies trembled as their auras disappeared. Their necks had been bitten by the purple centipedes. In an instant they were poisoned. Their bodies stiffened, and they fell from the sky. Damn it, he's actually so strong. Run quickly. This purple centipede was an incomparably terrifying demon king. The martial artists in the surroundings fled, as if they had gone mad. This was because someone had already recognized it. It was a 7-star centipede, one of the most terrifying types of poisonous creatures. After being nurtured by the holy son of myriad poisons, he had probably become a terrifying poison king. Even peerless almighties could not withstand it, let alone them. The surrounding people fled as if they had gone mad. However, the saint son of myriad poisons merely laughed coldly. Don't run. Go to hell for me. The purple centipede dashed forward at lightning speed, and everyone fell to the ground due to the poison. In an instant, there was no one in the surrounding space. Only the people from the myriad poison sect were still sneering. You really don't know what's good for you. How dare you go against our myriad poison cult? The myriad poison saint turned his head and stared at the fire maple tree below. A fiery light appeared in his eyes. 7-star centipede. I didn't expect you to have such a poison king. How surprising. However, it's useless to me. I'll give you a chance to live. Take your people and get lost. A delicate shout came from the sky. Who's that? You're courting death. The people from the myriad poison sect were instantly enraged. The saint son of myriad poison's expression darkened. He stared into the distance and pierced through the void. Just now, he had killed so many powerhouses with just a centipede. It could be said that his methods were very vicious. But now, someone was looking for trouble with him. They were courting death. Who is it? Could it be those 5 people? The powerhouses of the myriad poison sect were also decent. If it was those 5 from the Central Imperial Academy, it would be troublesome. No, it's a woman's voice. There were no women among the 5 top prodigies. It's probably some saintess. So what if she's a saintess? If she dares to come, I'll kill her. How arrogant. You want to kill me? I'm afraid you don't have the ability. The void was torn apart, and a graceful figure descended. Beside her were 3 martial artists. There were very few of them. This scene surprised the saint son of myriad poison. The people from the myriad poison sect even sneered. You dare to be arrogant in front of us with so few people? You really don't know what's good for you. Buzz. As soon as they finished speaking, their expressions changed drastically, and they frantically retreated. The woman suddenly descended in front of them. An extremely terrifying fluctuation surged from her body. In her hand, a sword light that was 10,000 meters long flashed. It tore through the void and descended from the sky. A terrifying storm swept through the surroundings, covering the entire sky. This sword slashed directly at the powerhouses of the myriad poison sect. Those powerhouses vomited blood and flew backward. Some were even slashed apart. They retreated far away, before they recovered with difficulty. In the next moment, they looked forward with a crazed expression. Damn it, how dare you sneak attack us? Sneak attack you? Hurry up and get lost. I'm in a good mood, or else I'll kill all of you. Princess, which dynasty are you from? The saint son of myriad poison asked with a frown. That sword strike just now also took his breath away. It was obvious that the other party was also a saint. How can a mere dynasty be compared to my family? The woman was very proud. I'm South Thearch's sister. You can call me the princess. The young girl's voice sounded with boundless arrogance. Hearing this, the expressions of the people of the myriad poison sect changed. The princess. They all thought that she was a descendant of Atharch. However, they soon realized that she was not. She should be from the Yin family, and she was very close to Yin Nantian. Damn it, could she be Yin Nanshan's sister? That's right, I'm Yin Nanshan's sister. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and get lost. Otherwise, when my brother comes, all of you will die. Yan Feiyu's expression was arrogant. She did not take the myriad poison sects seriously at all. How arrogant. Saint Wanda's face was gloomy. If Yin Nantian came personally, he would really turn around and leave. However, this was only his sister. She wanted to use the name of South Tharch to scare him away? How is that possible? He was not someone to be trifled with. You want me to leave? Speak with your true strength. The 7-star centipede in the Saint Wanda's hand flickered with a demonic light. A piece of trash like you doesn't need my brother to do anything. I can kill you myself. Yan Feiyu snorted coldly and quickly attacked. The sword light that filled the sky danced and slashed toward the Saint Wandu, courting death. The Saint Wandu was furious. He was a saint. When had he ever been looked down upon like this? In the next moment, he urged the 7-star centipede to attack. Chapter 27:17. The battle between the two was extremely terrifying. However, the 1,000-poison saint had underestimated Yan Feiyu. Yan Feiyu's sword light soared into the sky and blocked all the poisonous insects. She even blocked the 7-star centipede. Not only that, but the cyan sword in his hand was also extremely sharp and strange. A few sword lights almost hurt the 1,000 poisons holy sun. You're courting death. The 1,000 poison saint was furious. He roared into the sky, and his power soared into the sky. He took out a pitch-black jar and poured his energy into it. Instantly, a terrifying aura filled the entire sky. Oh no, this guy is using his trump card. The 3 powerhouses behind Yan Feiyu frowned. One of them sneered. How dare he use his trump card in front of our young miss? He really doesn't know what's good for him. The black jar emitted a monstrous cold aura. It turned into a black light and flew over. Everywhere it passed, the sky collapsed. Everyone quickly retreated. This was an extremely poisonous item. It was even more terrifying than the Poison King. Just a trace of its aura would cause one's vitality to wither and turn into white bones. Yan Feiyu shouted and spat out a pair of golden scissors. The golden scissors enlarged and turned into 2 dragons. They rushed out and cut the entire sky in half. The black fog in front of them also broke apart in an instant. It couldn't withstand it at all. Dragon scissors. Wasn't this Yin Nanshan's treasure? It was actually with him. Saint, retreat quickly. The powerhouses of the 1,000 poison sect cried out in alarm when they saw this scene. This was because the dragon scissors was a powerful weapon. The 1,000 poison saint's pupils shrank. He hurriedly used the black jar to block in front of him. With a clang, the dragon scissors and the gray jar collided with each other, making an earth-shattering sound. The 1,000 poison saint spat out blood and flew backward. Damn it, let's go. In the next moment, he turned into rolling black fog and wrapped the powerhouses of the 1,000 poison sect. He quickly left. The other party was very strong and had many trump cards. If they continued fighting, it would be difficult for him to gain an advantage. More importantly, the other party was Yan Nanshan's sister. If he really hurt her, Yan Nantian would probably kill him. Therefore, the 1,000 poison saint didn't dare to stay here. Seeing the other party escape, Yan Feiyu snorted coldly. He really overestimated himself. She ignored him and turned to look at the fire maple tree below. My line is my line. Suddenly Yan Feiyu frowned. She discovered that there was a white figure rapidly shuttling back and forth between the fire phoenix trees below. Although the speed was very fast, she still saw that it was a monkey. A snow-white little monkey. Spirit monkey. The corners of Yan Feiyu's lips curled up as her eyes lit up. She was really lucky to be able to obtain a spiritual beast from this guardian's lair. Come to think of it, it should be a mutated species of heaven and earth. Thinking of this, she waved her jade-like hands, forming an inescapable net that grabbed downwards. Wooji, it was not some native spirit monkey below, but a little snow-white monkey. Seeing that someone was trying to capture it, it swiftly traversed through space and vanished from the spot. When it appeared again, it dodged the fierce palm. It floated in the sky, bared its teeth, and spat at Yan Feiyu. From the looks of it, he was furious. What incredible speed! What a strange movement technique! The three experts of the Yin family were shocked. Yin Feiyu was also interested. As expected of the guardian's lair, the spiritual beast inside was indeed powerful. If she could obtain it and nurture it, it would definitely become a powerful demon king. As she spoke, she waved her jade-like hands again and grabbed downwards. Her jade-like hands overlapped and covered the sky. The little snow-white monkey kept dodging. It was so angry that it scratched its ears and cheeks. In the next moment, its body swayed, and it charged towards Yin Feiyu. Seeing this, Yin Feiyu smiled. She thought that the other party had surrendered. Come little darling, come to me. She took out a spiritual fruit. Spit. She was slapped on the head. The furry little paw slapped her face. Yin Feiyu was dizzy and felt that the spiritual power in her body had frozen. Taking advantage of the few seconds of dizziness, the little snow-white monkey was so angry that it used its little paw to ruthlessly stomp on Yin Feiyu's handsome face. In the next moment, it turned into a bolt of white lightning and fled 1,000 miles away. Ah, damn beast, I'm going to kill you. 3 seconds later, Yin Feiyu recovered and screamed in anger. A damned monkey actually dared to stomp on my face? Moreover, it even knocked me out. She couldn't bear it. She was high and mighty. Even the myriad poison sage had to run away when he saw her, let alone a little monkey. Catch it. I'm going to tear it into pieces. Yin Feiyu snorted coldly. The three experts of the Yin family rushed over. The three of them used their king domains and covered the sky and earth. They wanted to surround and kill the little snow-white monkey. Pung pung pung. However, in the next moment, the three of them were also slapped in the face and felt dizzy. The king domains disappeared. The little snow-white monkey appeared in another direction and made a face and spat at them. Damn it, what kind of monkey is this? Why is it so strange? It can make us dizzy. It's too fast. It's definitely a mutant. The three of them recovered and exclaimed in surprise. Yin Feiyu's gaze was gloomy. She wiped the footprints on her face and was shocked. Although she was angry, she changed her mind. Don't kill it. Capture it. It's definitely a terrifying mutant. I have to make good use of it. Indeed, the other party could even knock it out. If she could be tamed, she would be able to catch her enemies off guard and easily kill them. In the next moment, she opened her mouth again and spat out the dragon scissors. The golden scissors expanded in the air and turned into 2 dragons. They circled quickly and charged toward the little snow-white monkey. Little White changed its position. However, this time, the dragon scissors quickly followed. Woogie woogie, the little snow-white monkey panicked because it couldn't dodge. The 2 dragons also pierced through the void and got closer and closer to it. They were about to surround it. Seeing this, Yin Feiyu smiled. Great, I finally got it. The dragon scissors was a powerful weapon that her brother had given her. It was a half-step saint artifact and was very powerful. Even the saints and saintesses couldn't resist it, let alone a little monkey. Clang! An earth-shattering sound rang out. Light danced in the sky and the dragon scissors were sent flying. What? Seeing this, the 3 experts from the Yin family were stunned. Yin Feiyu was even more stunned. What's going on? Her dragon scissors were sent flying? That little monkey is already so terrifying. No, who is it? Her face turned gloomy. In front of her, beside the little snow-white monkey, a figure appeared. It was a black-robed young man with a handsome face. In front of him was a flaming pagoda that was burning fiercely. Chapter 27:18. Who are you? How dare you snatch what I want? Yin Feiyu stared at the black-robed young man and said coldly, Cripple your hands and kneel down before me. Then, I can let you go. At the front, when Lin Xian heard these words, he frowned. Who is this guy? How arrogant. How dare someone talk to him in such a tone? Was he looking for death? Judging from the little white monkey's words, this guy was chasing after Little White? Lin Xian could not take it anymore. He asked coldly, You attacked Little White? Could it be that this is your monkey? Yin Feiyu said with a frown. I don't care about Little White or Little Black. Since I want it, it's mine. If you know what's good for you, hand it over. Otherwise, you'll end up in a terrible state. Let me ask you, did you attack it? Lin Xian asked again. His voice was cold, and he was emitting a murderous aura. So what if I attacked it? It's just a little beast. If you want to kill me, you can kill me. What can you do to me? Yan Feiyu snorted coldly, as if she did not care about anyone in the world. Humph. Lin Xian's face darkened. He had to teach this guy a lesson since he dared to treat Little White in such a manner. With a sway of his body, he turned into a flash of light and disappeared into the void. How dare you attack me? You're looking for death. Yan Feiyu sneered and waved the sword in her hand. It turned into a curtain of swords and flew out. She did not mind killing the guy since he did not know his place. Even the Sage of Myriad Poison was no match for her. A stranger would definitely be killed by her sword. Boom! Boom! The sword radiance in the sky hit the guy and made a deafening sound. However, Yan Feiyu was shocked. Her sword radiance was shattered. The guy was not injured at all. He charged over like a god of war. Slap! In the next moment, she was hit on the cheek and flew out while vomiting blood. Her beautiful face had been beaten until it was deformed. Boom! Yan Feiyu's body flew backward and crashed into a mountain in the distance. What? Miss! The three experts from the Yan family were stunned when they saw this. The other party actually injured their young miss? How was this possible? Two of them turned into rainbows and charged into the distance, while the other stared fixedly at Lin Xian. Kid, who are you? You dare to lay your hands on my young miss? You're dead meat. Hurry up and kneel down. Otherwise, I'll let you know what it means to wish you were dead. What arrogance! Why don't you try and make a move? Lin Xian stood there with his hands behind his back. He was courting death. This elder was enraged. No matter what, he was still a late-stage 8-star Supreme Almighty. His strength was incomparably powerful. He had never been looked down upon like this before. With a cold snort, the old man struck out with his palm. His palm turned into an endless wave that rushed over, wanting to smash Lin Xian into pieces. Wherever it passed, the void shattered, and terrifying waves appeared in the surroundings in an instant. Humph! In the face of such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian coldly snorted and brandished his heaven-battling divine fist. A single punch exploded in all directions. The old man from the Yin clan also spat out blood and flew backwards. Half of his body exploded into a bloody mist. Damn it! Why is he so powerful? The old man was scared out of his wits. He quickly retreated with his head and regrouped in the distance. However, his face was unusually ugly. Lin Xian was too powerful. He was severely injured with a single punch. If Lin Xian had struck his head, he would have been killed. In the distance, Yan Feiyu and the other two experts also saw this scene. They were stunned in the void, and their faces were gloomy. Damn it! Who exactly is this kid? Could it be that he was a peerless genius? He must be. Yan Feiyu snorted coldly. So what if he's a supreme genius? Since he dared to injure me, I'll let my brother kill him. Yan Feiyu's figure flashed and she appeared in the sky. She looked down at Lin Xian with a face full of pride. Kid, kneel down and kowtow to me as an apology. Lin Xian raised his eyebrows. He had never seen such a fearless person. Do you think that I don't dare to kill you? His entire body emitted a monstrous killing intent. Yan Feiyu snorted coldly. Do you know who I am? I'm Yin Nanshan's sister. If you dare to touch me, my brother South Emperor will definitely not let you off. So what if you're strong? My brother can kill you with a single glance. South Emperor? Hearing this, Lin Xian was also stunned. He did not expect that the other party was from the Yin family. Although Lin Xian had never seen this South Emperor before, he had heard many rumors about him. It was said that he was a top genius of the South Mountain. He had obtained the inheritance of a great emperor and was given the title of South Emperor. Just like him, he was one of the top 5 geniuses of the true spirit world. However, Lin Xian did not expect to meet his sister instead of him. However, looking at the other party's sister, she was very arrogant. She reckoned that he often used his brother's name to do evil deeds. If it were other saints, they might be afraid. However, she met him. He was the Central Emperor, an existence on the same level as South Emperor. Why would he care about the other party's sister? South Emperor's sister, no wonder you're so arrogant. You usually use your brother's name to bully others. Unfortunately, it's useless against me. Even if your brother comes, he can't scare me away. So if you have the ability, then show it. If you don't, then hurry up and get lost." While speaking, Lin Xian whistled lightly. Dozens of figures came from afar, quickly flying over. "You want to compete with my elder brother for the peak? You're overestimating yourself. You think you can contend against us just because you called for help?" Yan Feiyu's expression was disdainful. She did not think that there was anyone in this world who could contend against her brother. So what if the other party had more people? Would they really dare to touch her? In the distance, those figures quickly flew over. They saw the fire wind trees below and cried out in surprise. "There are so many fire maple trees. We're rich. Palace Master, we're really rich." These people were naturally Immortal Palace's martial artists. The few leading them were Peacock, Hui Dao, and Ghost Calendar's top 3 geniuses. The ones following them were also young martial artists. These were all people who came with Lin Xian to train. The other Immortal Palace experts were led by other protectors and elders. "Get lost. This is what I want. If anyone dares to touch it, my Yan family will destroy him. Not only will we destroy him, but we will also destroy his entire family. You can try," Yan Feiyu shouted, her voice spreading in all directions. In the distance, Peacock and the others frowned when they heard this. Immortal Palace's martial artists snorted coldly. "Who is this? So arrogant? Damn it, you dare to be arrogant in front of our palace master? Do you want to die? Who are you? How dare you speak in such a tone?" Hui Dao also snorted coldly. South Emperor's sister. Hurry up and kneel down and kowtow." "Yan Nanshan's sister? That's South Emperor. They're from the Yan family." Immortal Palace's martial artists discussed animatedly. "How is it? Are you scared? If you know you're scared, then kneel down and kowtow. I'm in a good mood, so I can spare your lives." Chapter 27:19. Because Immortal Palace's martial artists all sneered. "Oh my, is this girl an idiot? She actually wants us to kowtow. She really doesn't know what's good for her. Who does she think she is? Does she really think she's a great emperor? What's there to be arrogant about being South Emperor's sister? That's right, she's not South Emperor. Even if South Emperor came personally, he wouldn't dare to say such big words in front of our palace master." "Palace master? Damn it, who exactly are you?" When Yan family's experts heard this, their eyelids twitched wildly. A name appeared in their minds. Listen well. Hui Dao stood out. "Our palace master is naturally the central emperor. Do you think you have the qualifications to be arrogant in front of our palace master? Central Emperor. Lin Xian. Immortal Palace. It's really them." Yan family's elders cried out in alarm. Their faces became incomparably ugly. Yan Feiyu's face was also full of shock. She didn't expect the other party to be the central emperor. A peerless genius on the same level as her brother. "Young miss, let's go quickly." Yan family's 3 experts transmitted their voices, wanting to leave. There was no helping it. Lin Xian's reputation was too strong. He wasn't any weaker than South Emperor. Moreover, not long ago, he had just defeated the #1 genius. It could be said that he was like the sun in the sky. Provoking him now was an extremely unwise choice. Yan Feiyu was also stunned. However, she soon sneered. "So you're the central emperor? You think you're worthy of being mentioned in the same breath as my brother? You're not worthy of being the central emperor at all. And you're even less worthy of my brother's name." Lin Xian's eyes were gloomy. The Immortal Palace's martial artists behind him also exploded. "Is this girl an idiot? Yes. She actually dares to talk about our palace master like that. Little girl, I think you should kneel down and kowtow to apologize. Even if it's true, do you think we don't dare to touch you? Is your brother South Emperor that awesome? Let him fight with the #1 genius first. Let's see if he can beat the #1 genius before shouting at our palace master." "That's right. I reckon your brother isn't even as good as the #1 genius." Immortal Palace's people sneered again and again. Yan Feiyu was mad. "Ah, bastards, you bastards. Who said my brother isn't as good as the #1 genius? My brother is the strongest. Even a saint physique can't beat my brother. You're just bragging. How can a saintly physique not be able to defeat your brother? Have they fought before? How dare you say that? What if one day your brother is defeated by a saintly being? Wouldn't that be like slapping your own face? Alright, if you have anything to say, let your brother say it himself. You don't have the right to be arrogant in front of us. Peacock Hui Dao and the others sneered. Yan Feiyu was so angry that her entire body was trembling. As Yan Nanshan's younger sister, she was the little princess of the Yan clan. In the southern mountains, no one dared to go against her. He didn't expect to be provoked and looked down upon in such a way during his trip to Qinling Mountains. She couldn't stand it. Damn it, I'm going to kill you. She roared and activated the Jiao Dragon scissors. 2 Jiao Dragons roared and charged forward. A terrifying power shook the surroundings. Damn it, this weapon actually has holy aura. That's a half-saint artifact, right? She actually has a half-saint artifact. Immortal Palace's people cried out in alarm. Peacock and the others sneered. Their temple master had just obtained a half-saint artifact recently. That guy was no match for him. As expected, Lin Xian activated the 9-story pagoda and released a sea of fire that filled the sky. It turned into fire chilants that roared in all directions. He fought with the 2 Jiao dragons. At the same time, he took the initiative to attack. He struck out with his palm, which turned into a huge palm that covered the sky and slammed onto the Jiao Dragon scissors. Hum! A trembling sound was heard. The void in the 9 heavens and 10 earths shattered, and the mountains within 10,000 miles cracked. The Jiao Dragon scissors were knocked to the ground. Damn it, his physique is so strong. Yan Feiyu was terrified. The Yan clan's experts roared. Not good, miss, retreat. He has the 9 Yang divine body. The 9 Yang divine body was extremely powerful and terrifying. They might not be able to block it. Only Yan Nantian himself would be able to stop it. Damn it, 12 heavenly swords. I'll fight it out with you. Yan Feiyu screamed crazily when she saw that. The sword in her hand emitted a resplendent light, which turned into 12 sword lights that connected the heavens and the earth. The 12 sword lights slashed down mercilessly like 12 bolts of divine lightning, carrying a terrifying murderous aura. It had to be said that Yan Feiyu was very impressive. Not only was she Yan Nanshan's sister, but her strength had also reached the level of a top saintess. It could be said that her power was boundless. With this power alone, she could definitely dominate an area. Unfortunately, she met Lin Xian. 12 heavenly swords descended from the sky. The expressions of the Immortal Palace's cultivators changed. They were facing a great enemy. Lin Xian's expression was calm. He waved his palm, which turned into a huge palm print and grabbed forward. I don't care what saintess or divine body you have. How dare you grab my 12 heavenly swords with your bare hands? You're dead meat. Yan Feiyu screamed crazily. Her 12 heavenly swords were a top heaven divine ability. It was extremely terrifying. Together with the sword in her hand, she could kill a saint. Even a top-notch saint would not be able to contend with him. She had to deal with it with her full strength. Although the other party was a middle emperor, he actually dared to grab her heavenly sword Qi with his bare hands. This made her feel that the other party was too arrogant. She swore that she would definitely cut off the other party's arm. However, in the next moment she was stunned, because her 12 heavenly sword lights were quickly dimming, as if they were about to disappear. Damn it, this was impossible. How could he break it in an instant? Not to mention her. The 3 Yan family's experts were also stunned. Even if the other party was a middle emperor, he should not be so powerful. What kind of technique was this? With a light wave, the 12 heavenly swords disappeared without a trace? How could they know that Lin Xian was an expert in the sword Dao? His attainments in sword techniques were extremely terrifying. Yan Feiyu displaying her sword techniques in front of him was simply displaying her slight skill in front of an expert. The 12 heavenly swords were unparalleled in the eyes of others, but in Lin Xian's eyes, it was full of loopholes. He saw through the flaws of the 12 heavenly swords at a glance. Therefore, when he attacked, it was naturally a one-hit kill. In an instant, the 12 heavenly swords disappeared without a trace. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back, looked at the other party, and said indifferently, What other techniques do you have? Show them to me. Other than your brother, what other abilities do you have to be proud of? Just you wait, my brother won't let you off. Yan Feiyu screamed. Lin Xian sneered. It seems that you don't have any other abilities. You're just a piece of trash who relies on your brother. Get lost. A person like you won't cooperate with me. With that, Lin Xian took a step forward. A sharp aura erupted from his body, turning into a tornado that charged forward. In an instant, Yan Feiyu was sent flying. She flew a few thousand meters backward and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. All the bones in her body were shattered. Ah! She screamed crazily. I'll kill you, I'll definitely kill you. Noisy. Lin Xian's face darkened, and the aura on his body suddenly erupted. Feeling this aura, the three Yan family's experts trembled. They were like a small boat rolling in a storm. Now they finally knew how powerful the other party was. Chapter 27:20. Leave quickly. If Lin Fan wanted to kill them, they would not be able to stop him. Therefore, they quickly turned into three streams of light and escaped with Yan Feiyu. You want to leave just like that? Do you really think that you can come and go as you please after provoking me? Lin Xian's voice was cold. Countless sword chi circled the area, forming a cage that enveloped Yan Feiyu and the others. Damn it, what are you trying to do? My brother will not let you off if you dare to attack us. The Yan family will not let you off. Yan Feiyu screamed crazily. Her eyes were filled with fear. The other party's methods were too powerful. She couldn't resist at all in front of him. Your dragon scissors are not bad. Keep it. Lin Xian's eyes lit up as he looked at the golden dragon. The dragon scissors surrounded Yan Feiyu to protect her. Yan Feiyu was furious when she heard what Lin Fan said. Lin Fan dared to have designs on her treasure. How could she tolerate that? The three Yan family experts' eyelids twitched. They quickly said, the dragon scissors is South Emperor's treasure. He is only lending it to Miss temporarily. Although they did not say it explicitly, their intentions were clear. This is South Emperor's item. Do you dare to take it? Lin Xian snorted coldly. Who cared about the North or the South Arch? If it was not for South Emperor, do you think the four of you would still be alive? I just want some interest and you are so unwilling. Do you really think that I don't dare to kill you? The sword chi on Lin Xian's body grew sharper and sharper. The three elders of the Yan family began to tremble. Their faces were filled with terror, because they did not doubt that if the other party really wanted to kill them, they could do it with a single glance. Yan Feiyu was the same. Although she had the dragon scissors to protect her, her face was still pale. She swore that when she returned, she would tell her brother and ask him to destroy Lin Fan. Since you are so stubborn, don't blame me for doing it myself. Lin Xian executed the Yin Yang 8 steps and instantly appeared beside the other party. Damn it! The three elders of the Yan family roared, but their bodies seemed to be frozen. Tens of thousands of streaks of sword chi surrounded them, causing them to not dare to move at all. As long as they moved, they would probably be cut into pieces. Yan Feiyu also shrieked. She was no longer as arrogant as before. At this moment her entire body was trembling. If you dare to kill me, my brother won't let you off. I wouldn't be afraid even if your brother were here. Lin Xian snorted coldly as a golden light appeared in his eyes. Yan Feiyu was attacked by the illusion. In the next moment, she stopped resisting, and her expression became extremely respectful. Greetings, master. She knelt on one knee, erased the imprint of the flood dragon scissors, and give it to me. Lin Xian's cold voice sounded. Yes, master. Yan Feiyu was in a daze as she moved quickly. The three experts from the Yan family were shocked when they saw this. What kind of method was this? Their miss was actually being controlled by someone? This was too heaven-defying. Other than the terrifying sword Dao and Nine Yang divine body, the other party actually had such a terrifying eye technique. They had never seen such an eye technique before. This meant that the other party did not use all of his trump cards when he was fighting with the number one prodigy. Oh heavens, this central emperor was really too terrifying. They were extremely terrified. On the other hand, Yan Feiyu quickly erased the imprint of the flood dragon scissors. The flood dragon scissors swayed rapidly on her body and turned into a palm-sized golden scissors that floated in the air. Lin Xian took the flood dragon scissors and formed a few seals before keeping it. Whoosh! He waved his hand. Scram! A gust of wind blew Yan Feiyu and the 3 experts from the Yin family away, and they instantly disappeared into the sky. The temple master was too cool. Yes, he was my idol. In the distance, the martial artists from Immortal Palace cheered excitedly. Hui Dao Peacock and the others were also shocked. Yan Feiyu was a top saint, and they might not be able to defeat her. However, such a terrifying existence was like a puppet in front of Lin Xian. She could only be manipulated by him. This made their faces full of shock. Lin Xian said that they should take action and collect the fire maple trees below. Of course, they should not take all of them. They should leave a dozen of them here for the future generations. Indeed, this was the rule of the true spirit world. Even if they encountered treasures, they would not kill them all and take all of them. They would leave some behind. For example, they would leave the roots or take 90% and leave 10% behind. After all, treasures were good, but they could not be destroyed. They had to be left for the future generations. The people from Immortal Palace naturally knew about these rules. They moved quickly, and the little white monkey also joined the plundering army. Lin Xian stood in the air and narrowed his eyes. This flood dragon scissors was not what he wanted. He felt that this flood dragon scissors was very suitable for the dark red divine dragon. The dark red divine dragon had been desperately trying to break the formation in the past few years. He naturally had to find something to comfort him. Soon most of the fire wind fruits were plucked. Of course, some were left behind. Not only that, Lin Xian took about a third of the fire phoenix trees. They were preparing to transplant them outside. This way, even if they did not come to this nest in the future, they could still enjoy the fire phoenix fruits in Immortal Palace. Let's go. Lin Xian waved his hand and led the people from Immortal Palace away quickly. After flying for about half a day, dozens of lights appeared in the distance. Big brother Lin Xian. It turned out that Xin Jingqiu had come. Qiu'er, Lin Xian, and Xin Jingqiu met up and set off together. Big brother Lin Xian, go ahead quickly. There seems to be a big treasure there. Oh really? Lin Xian was surprised. Yes, big sister Qingqing has already arrived. She was the one who told me. She said that there were 9 bone palaces arranged in a supreme formation. There must be something good inside. 8 bone palaces. Lin Xian was surprised. It seemed that the background was not small. Yes, many holy lands have already arrived. Alright, let's go take a look. Lin Xian and the others flew ahead. There was indeed a phenomenon in front of them. In the vast mountains, 9 bone palaces appeared out of nowhere, emitting a mysterious aura. These bone palaces were extremely terrifying. They were completely made of white bones. The bones were crystal clear and incomparably resplendent. Clearly, they were not ordinary bones, but the corpses of peerless demon kings. The bones were huge, much bigger than humans. Some were more than 10 meters long, and some were dozens of meters long. The bone palaces emitted a cold aura that made people tremble. At this moment, countless people gathered outside the 9 bone palaces. They were all martial artists from the Holy Lands. Among them, there were 2 terrifying figures. They stood in one direction, making people look up to them. One was naturally East Sage Yi Wudao. He stood there with the Yi family. The surrounding people did not dare to get close. The other was a young monk who looked to be about 15 or 16 years old. He had delicate features. Chapter 27-21. That was because he was the saint of the Western Desert's Thousand Buddha Temple. He was also known as the top prodigy of Western Buddha. Apart from Eastern Sage and Western Buddha, the other saints and prodigies were also here. No Flower Gu Santong, the Prince of Great Xia, and the others were also here. Morong Qingqing was also here. Her beauty was unparalleled, and she was standing on a lotus. However, there were a few dazzling prodigies who did not come. The South Emperor did not come. The Alcate Saint did not come. Of course, the mysterious North Demon did not come either. However, the people of the Demon King Palace were here. Hua Tiandu stood there with the experts of the Demon King Palace. Yin Ruyu, who was beside him, did not appear. I wonder if she came this time. It's so lively. Looks like everyone is here. A voice came from the sky, followed by countless figures descending. The cultivators of the sacred grounds and sects who had arrived first all turned their heads to look. In the next moment they exclaimed, Lin Xian, the Central Emperor is here. The Central Emperor is here. Of course, there were many supporters of Lin Xian among them. At this moment, they were cheering excitedly. Yi Wudao, No Flower, Gu Santong, the Prince of Great Xia, and the others nodded and greeted them. Lin Xian also responded, Brother Xian. Morong Qingqing smiled. Lin Xian brought people near Morong Qingqing. Sister Qingqing, we're here. How is it? Have you cracked the array here? Shen Jingqiu asked. Morong Qingqing, on the other hand, shook her head. No, these 9-bone palaces were extremely frightening. Just the aura they were emitting was already overwhelming. Moreover, we think that the 9 palaces form an extremely terrifying array. I'm afraid it's not that easy to break. Morong Qingqing's expression turned a bit serious as she spoke. Brother Lin, your array skills are high. See if there's a chance to crack it. If there's a chance, tell us and we'll support you. Gu Santong and No Flower also spoke. They naturally knew that Lin Xian was also an array master. The other saints and saintesses also looked over. Okay, let me see. Lin Xian nodded, a golden glow appearing in his eyes. At the same time, he raised his finger, and balls of sword chi flew up. Buzz, buzz, buzz. When these sword chis flew near the bone palaces, they were destroyed by the nether spirit aura on the bone palaces. Lin Xian frowned and quickly tried to deduce. About 3 days later he opened his eyes. He had a simple idea that required everyone's cooperation. Just give us the order, and we'll definitely do our best. The surrounding experts echoed in agreement. Leaf Daodinier nodded, and off in the distance, West Buddha said, Amit Ba. Alright, then I want stand on ceremony. Lin Xian began to voice his thoughts. Thus, these people began to attack with all their might according to Lin Xian's plan. Thunder rumbled as countless bolts of lightning fell from the sky. Shockwaves surged as the 9 white-bone devil palaces violently shook. Great, it's really effective. When these experts saw this scene, they were extremely shocked. As expected of the Central Emperor, his attainments and formations were so strong. Indeed, most of their formation masters were outside, trying their best to crack the nest of 10,000 dragons. There were very few formation masters who came in. They didn't expect Lin Xian's attainments and formations to be no weaker than those top formation masters outside. However, these 9 white-bone palaces far exceeded everyone's imagination. In an instant, the 9 white-bone palaces emitted incomparable light, sucking in all the figures in the sky. Not good, everyone be careful. Big brother Lin Xian. Big brother Xian. Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu also cried out in alarm. Lin Xian waved his hand, wanting to pull the two of them over. However, he only caught Shen Jingqiu. Morong Qingqing and the people of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground were sucked away by another white-bone palace. On Lin Xian's side, he also felt a powerful force enveloping him. He waved his sword light, but he couldn't destroy it. This shocked him. At the same time, he felt the aura of a sage. This white-bone palace was indeed not simple. He reckoned that this guardian's nest was also at the sage level. He opened the dragon sword domain and enveloped the people around him. 10,000 auras surrounded him. Soon, they realized that the mysterious power around them had disappeared, and they had completely entered the White-Bone Palace. No way, this White-Bone Palace was actually so big. It must have formed its own world. The cultivators from the sacred ground and the great sects who followed them and were also discussing animatedly. What should we do, Lord Central Emperor? Many people came to Lin Xian's side to seek help. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he looked around. Let's go forward and take a look. He led the group and quickly rushed forward. The surrounding people followed behind. Of course, there were also many people who sneered and their eyes flickered. From the looks of it, they were up to no good. However, now was not the time to make a move. What a strong smell of blood. After flying for a while, the surrounding people frowned. The smell of blood in front of them was too strong. It was like a monstrous sea of blood. Lin Xian also frowned. Shen Jingqiu grabbed Lin Xian's arm. Big brother Lin Xian, are there monsters? Don't worry, it's fine. Lin Xian comforted her. A golden light appeared in his eyes, and he saw a blood pool in the sky in front of him. The monstrous blood fiendish aura came from the blood pool. The blood pool was too big. It was like a lake. Gradually, the flying cultivators also discovered the blood pool. They all gathered around it, each of them shining with boundless light as they activated their domains. What terrifying blood! Whose blood was this? Could it be the Guardian's blood? It was too scary to not know. Look at the blood. There are broken armor and weapons in it. Everyone exclaimed. Sure enough, there were broken weapons in the blood pool. Among them, a few cultivators were jealous because their weapons were broken. However, they thought that it should be an extremely terrifying existence. It would be great to be able to get 1 or 2 fragments. 2 of them attacked. One of them directly grabbed at the blood pool. As for the other person, he took out a whip and swept it toward Chu Feng. The person who entered the blood pool with his bare hands immediately turned into white bones. His flesh and blood disappeared. Not only that, his entire body also quickly melted, and finally turned into a pool of blood, and merged into the blood pool. The other person screamed crazily. The whip in his hand had also completely melted and broken. Fortunately, he reacted quickly and threw away the whip, saving his life. However, he did not dare to go forward anymore. The surrounding people were also terrified. The 2 who attacked just now were peerless powerhouses, but they could not even withstand the power of the blood pool. If the others attacked, they would be completely finished. What kind of blood was this? It was too terrifying. Was it from an invincible king? Or a terrifying demon king? It might not be from one person. Didn't you see that person turn into a pool of blood just now? It was very likely formed by the blood of countless powerhouses gathered together. This place is too terrifying. Let's go. Many people's scalps went numb, and they prepared to leave. Big brother Lin Xian, let's go too. Shen Jingqiu also asked. Chapter 27-22. With the help of the heavenly secret divine eyes and his powerful soul power, he finally saw through the blood sea and saw the situation inside. He was shocked because he found that there was a heart in the blood pool. No, to be exact, it was something like a heart. It was beating rhythmically, and every time it beat, it would make the blood sea surge. Lin Xian found that the heart had powerful energy. This was an endless treasure trove for him, not only for the 9 young divine body, but also for the dragon sword soul. Now that he saw it, how could he give it up? In the next moment, he snorted coldly and jumped into the blood pool. What? When the surrounding people saw this, they screamed in fear. Shen Jingqiu also exclaimed, Don't worry, Qiu, I'm fine. This thing can train my body. Lin Xian said. He asked Shen Jingqiu and the rest of the people from Immortal Palace to wait outside. He was going to cultivate here. Okay. Shen Jingqiu stood at the side with Whitey in her arms. Her big black eyes looked around. In the next moment, light flowed on her body, and she began to absorb the surrounding spiritual energy. Seeing this, the surrounding people were even more shocked. God, she can absorb the spiritual energy. Is she not afraid of the murderous aura? It was rumored that Saint Girl Zixia also had a special bloodline. Maybe she had a way to ignore the murderous aura. I have to absorb more spiritual energy to improve my strength and catch up with brother Lin Xian as soon as possible. Shen Jingqiu quickly activated her mysterious bloodline. The others were hesitant. A few late-stage 8-star powerhouses put on their armor and were ready to go down to fish. After entering the blood pool, the light on their bodies made a sizzling sound, which gave them a fright. However, they found that it was okay. They could withstand it. Seeing this, the other powerhouses took action. The blood pool was very big. Even if hundreds of people went in, it would not be crowded. However, those who were below the late-stage 8-star were in trouble. They did not have the strength to enter at all. They could only wander around. Many people went to other places to search. This Lin Xian was too terrifying. Even a late-stage 8-star powerhouse would have a hard time resisting his attacks, even if they wore battle armor. Yet he was able to resist it with just his physique alone. Moreover, he was doing it with ease. As expected of the 9 young divine body, it was indeed terrifying. Among them, a few looked at Lin Xian with unfriendly expressions. They walked up to him. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were shocked. What was the meaning of this? Someone wanted to make a move on Lin Xian? It couldn't be. Ever since the #1 prodigy, there was still someone who dared to touch Lin Xian. Did they not want to live anymore? Someone exclaimed. What do you know? No matter how strong the #1 genius is, he's still only a member of the younger generation. Look at the people who are fighting this time. Are there any members of the younger generation? This was clearly an expert of the older generation. Furthermore, there were 3 of them. It was obvious that they wanted to kill the other party. Fuck, so shameless. If you have the ability, then fight our god Lin Xian one-on-one. That's right. Are you bullying our immortal palace because we don't have anyone? Immortal Palace's people also became anxious. Don't make a move. You guys can search for your own opportunities. Don't worry about me. Lin Xian shook his head and did not let Immortal Palace's people make a move. It was just 3 peerless powerhouses. Even if they joined forces, they could not kill him. Kid, you're very confident. However, we're not ordinary peerless powerhouses. The 3 of them walked up. 1 was an old man, and 2 were middle-aged. The old man had a peak 8-star cultivation base, while the 2 middle-aged men were late-stage 8-star cultivators. When the 3 of them joined forces, they were extremely powerful. They had already surpassed the top saints. After all, no matter how strong one was, he could not compare to these powerhouses working together. Hee. The 3 of us would like to experience the power of the 9 young divine body. The old man sneered. You want to spar with me? Sure, but if you lose, you'll die. Lin Xian's eyes emitted a piercing light. Waves of sword qi rushed out of the blood pool, causing the surrounding blood sea to surge and splash in all directions. The surrounding people were so frightened that they retreated frantically. A drop of the blood pool could penetrate an ordinary powerhouse. They did not dare to go up at all. Attack! Seeing this scene, the 3 of them also roared angrily. The old man waved his hand, and a flying sword behind him shot out, turning into a long rainbow. The other 2 middle-aged men also attacked. Terrifying auras surged from their bodies. A long saber and a long spear instantly rose into the air, firmly locking onto Lin Xian. Not only that, but the 3 of them also covered the entire blood pool with their king domains. Terrifying auras swept across heaven and earth, completely enveloping Lin Xian. Seeing this scene, the 3 powerhouses sneered. No matter how strong the other party was, so what? He was only a prodigy of the younger generation. He was nothing compared to the older generation. Moreover, this time, the 3 of them joined forces. Humph. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Facing the attacks of the 3, his body bloomed with billions of rays of light, and waves of sword qi rushed out. With a boom, he struck out with his palm. The terrifying palm turned into a golden crow, covering the sky and earth, and charged over with a scorching aura. That palm was too terrifying. It made people think that an immemorial golden crow had been resurrected. The 3 king domains were instantly pierced through. The flames that filled the sky ignited the surrounding spirit qi, forming a monstrous fire. Bang! 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 He waved his palm and slapped the 3 people's weapons, sending them flying. The 3 figures were also forced back. The qi and blood in their bodies churned, and their bodies were dyed black. Damn it! A golden crow? How did he know such a cultivation technique? Don't worry, I have the water of 3 een. The old man's face was gloomy. He opened his mouth and spat out a blue pearl. The pearl turned into waves and surrounded them, dissipating the scorching energy. The water of 3 een enveloped the 3 of them, and the 3 of them attacked again. Kid, let's see how you're going to hurt us this time. The 3 of them sneered again, and charged over with their weapons. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and his eyes were filled with disdain. He continued to wave his palm, but the golden crow disappeared, and was replaced by majestic mountains. The void trembled and quickly collapsed. 3 mountains appeared, each of them piercing into the clouds. Oh my god, is this a divine power? Why do I feel that Lin Xian has directly pulled out 3 mountains? Yes, it's too realistic. Even the stones and trees on it are lifelike. What divine power is this? The surrounding people were shocked. The pupils of the 3 peerless powerhouses also constricted. It was too terrifying. The other party could summon golden crows and huge mountains with just a wave of his hand. Each of them was extremely realistic. How did they evolve? Was there such a terrifying divine power in the world? They didn't know. However, they didn't have time to think too much. The 3 mountains descended from the sky with an extremely terrifying aura. Before they arrived, they were already out of breath. Damn it! Block it for me! The 3 of them quickly attacked the 3 mountains. Bang! 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 The sky shook and the earth shook. The 3 of them vomited blood and flew backward. One of them was directly crushed into a bloody mist by the mountain, and his body split open. Ah! The late-stage 8-star peerless powerhouse screamed and wanted to retreat. Chapter 27-23. All the blood in his broken body had been sucked away. Originally, he could still recover from this injury, but in this blood pool he was killed. Only a pile of white bones floated in the sea of blood. Damn it! There was something wrong with the blood pool. Seeing this scene, the other 2 were so scared that their scalps went numb. Retreat! They did not dare to fight anymore. If they were injured, they would probably be swallowed by the sea of blood. The 2 quickly retreated. Lin Xian sneered. Want to leave? Stay here for me. He waved his hand, and the dragon scissors that he had just obtained flew out. The dragon scissors expanded in the wind and turned into 2 dragons that coiled around the 2. Lin Xian snorted and broke through the sea of blood, appearing beside the 2. In his palms, 2 balls of sword light flashed and slapped on the heads of the 2. Boom! Boom! The 2 peerless experts were killed. Their bodies exploded and turned into a bloody mist. The 2 souls wanted to escape. However, soul fire, the heavenly secret divine eyes opened and completely destroyed the souls of the 2. In an instant, the 3 peerless experts were killed. Dead? Were they all dead? The surrounding people were shocked. In the blood pool, the other experts were even more terrified. This method was too powerful. The 3 older experts were no match for the other party even if they joined forces. Could it be that only an invincible king could suppress the other party? Perhaps. No one below the invincible king level was a match for the other party. Someone sighed, and the others sucked in a breath of cold air. Lin Xian snorted. If you want to fight me, you have to be prepared to be killed. At this point, he ignored the others and went all out. The dragon sword spirit domain behind him flickered and enveloped him. It formed a dragon head, opened its bloody mouth, and began to crazily devour the sea of blood. Was this brat still human? He dared to absorb so fiercely. Wasn't he afraid of being devoured by the murderous aura in the sea of blood? The surrounding people were stunned. The experts in the blood pool were even more terrified. They were carefully absorbing the energy in the blood pool bit by bit, but the other party was directly devouring it. Comparing oneself to others was really infuriating. Lin Xian was surrounded by sword light, so no one could see what was going on inside. At this moment, the 9-yang divine body was fully activated. Countless mysterious runes flickered, allowing the baleful aura of the blood sea to attack and temper his body. Not only that, but there was also a dragon-shaped sword shadow in front of him. It transformed into a swimming dragon and crazily absorbed the surrounding sea of blood. Most of the blood sea's energy was channeled into the great dragon sword soul. The great dragon sword soul kept roaring. Clearly, the energy in the blood sea had revived the great dragon sword soul. It was very excited, and in the end it took the initiative to absorb it. Dragon roars resounded in the blood pool, scaring everyone into a state of panic. Damn, why do I feel like he's a dragon? Don't talk nonsense. This is the guardian nest of the nest of 10,000 dragons. Don't talk nonsense. If a dragon really jumps out, we will be finished. But what was with that dragon roar? I don't know. This brat must have obtained some special inheritance. No one dared to talk too much. The other powerhouses had bitter looks on their faces, because the blood in the pool was decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. This caused the corners of their mouths to twitch. Damn it! Someone took out a huge cauldron and began to forcefully absorb the blood. Bang! However, after absorbing more than half of it, the huge cauldron suddenly exploded into pieces with a bang. The blood that filled the sky fell again. The powerhouse who attacked was also sent flying and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. The expressions of the others changed. Not good. The energy of the blood was too terrifying. Ordinary weapons couldn't withstand it at all. Even a heaven-grade weapon would have to be careful. It wouldn't be able to withstand it at all. Damn it. What did that brat use to forcefully absorb it? It should be a half-step saint artifact in his hand. It was very likely. Wasn't the number one prodigy's half-step saint artifact snatched away by him? Not only that, but I heard that Yin Nanshan's sister was also beaten up by him, and had a half-step saint artifact snatched away. What, there was such a thing? Are you saying that South Emperor's sister was also beaten up by him? Heavens! These people were horrified. This was big news. South Emperor was not inferior to Lin Xian. She was South Emperor's biological sister, and it was said that South Emperor doted on her very much. She was also the little princess of the Yin family. How could such a person be beaten up? This Lin Xian of Zhong Huang didn't give any face at all. These people discussed. Lin Xian heard these words and didn't explain anything at all. He was just absorbing with all his might. He could feel that the power of the dragon sword soul was becoming stronger bit by bit. Moreover, not only the dragon sword soul, but his divine body and even himself were also absorbing the energy in the blood pool now. His cultivation was still at the mid-stage of 7-star. It seemed that it was about time for a breakthrough. However, his absorption speed was much slower than the dragon sword soul. After all, no matter how powerful the art of longevity was, it had to evolve the murderous aura inside. Otherwise, his nature would definitely be affected, and he would definitely go crazy. However, Lin Xian wouldn't let go of this opportunity. Even if it was slow, he wouldn't give up. Just like that, he quickly absorbed and improved his cultivation, the power of the 9-yang divine body, and the recovery of the dragon sword soul. After 3 days and 3 nights, more than half of the blood pool was gone. This scene directly shocked the surrounding people. Their eyeballs were about to pop out. When the others saw that they couldn't collect the blood pool, they also desperately cultivated in the blood pool. However, on the 4th day there was a change. Bang! 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 A violent vibration occurred in the blood pool. It was getting stronger and stronger. Accompanying it was an angry roar. The roar was very vague. It sounded like a human and a beast at the same time. It was an angry roar that shook the surrounding people. Many people vomited blood and their faces turned pale. It was too terrifying. Who was it and who was it? These people were terrified. The people in the blood pool looked as if they were struck by lightning. Each of them shone brightly and roared crazily. Lin Xian also opened his eyes and frowned. It was that heart. A golden light appeared in his eyes as he stared at the blood pool. As expected, the heart was beating much more violently than before. Could it be that he had absorbed too much blood and angered the heart? However, it was fine if it was angry. According to Lin Xian's original plan, he wanted to directly snatch the heart. That was because the energy of the heart was too strong. Naturally, he wouldn't let it go. With a cold snort, Lin Xian raised his hand and waved his arm. At this moment, his physique was so strong that it was even more terrifying than a heaven-grade treasure. Therefore, this was equivalent to a heavenly sword slashing down. Boom! The blood pool was cut in half, and a huge crack appeared. The blood water that filled the sky was split apart. The warriors in the blood pool exclaimed and dodged one after another. Chapter 27-24. The heart was as big as a millstone, and it was covered with mysterious blood-red patterns. As it pulsed, it carried boundless power. What kind of heart was that? How could there be such a big heart? It belonged to a peerless monster king. Heavens! Who was the one who formed this pool of blood? How could it nurture such a terrifying thing? Could it be that the previous roar came from the heart? These people were shocked. Many of them flew into the air, not daring to stay any longer, because this blood pool was too strange, too evil. However, there were still some powerful martial artists who continued to stay. Many of them even began to have designs on the blood-red heart. The heart of 10,000 blood. They did not expect to encounter the heart of 10,000 blood here. It seemed that they were really lucky. A loud voice sounded, and everyone's scalp went numb. They looked up. A figure stepped into the air and appeared in the sky in an instant. The heart of 10,000 blood? What was that? Someone frowned. Someone else snorted. Humph, if you want to snatch the heart, you'll have to ask us first. A peak 8-star powerhouse snorted coldly. There was a cold light in his eyes. This was a powerhouse from the moon-worshipping cult. A full moon rose behind him, exuding a terrifying aura. Buzz, the mysterious powerhouse, came from above and sneered. 2 rays of sharp light shot out from his eyes, which turned into 2 sharp swords and stabbed downward. Boom! The moon-worshipping cult powerhouse felt as if he had been struck by lightning. His body was penetrated. The full moon behind him shattered into pieces and exploded with a loud bang. Oh no! The moon-worshipping cult powerhouse quickly retreated, trying to escape. In the sky, the mysterious powerhouse slapped down with a palm. It turned into a white tiger with endless power and directly enveloped the powerhouse. With a boom, the moon-worshipping cult powerhouse was shattered into pieces. He was killed by the white tiger. Dead. A peak 8-star expert was killed with a single move. Oh my god, who was this person? Could it be that he was also a top genius with a title? They were extremely shocked. Lin Xian also frowned as he looked forward. No, the other party was not from the younger generation. He was an invincible king. Everyone retreat! Some powerhouses exclaimed. The others were horrified. An invincible king, god. This person who looked to be in his 30s turned out to be an invincible king. They could not believe it. However, after seeing the other party's means, these people did not dare to have any doubts. They frantically retreated, not daring to get close at all. The people of Immortal Palace and Purple Dawn Holy Land also protected Shinjingqiu and quickly retreated. Shinjingqiu's jade-like face was extremely solemn. Facing Invincible King, she naturally felt the pressure. The snow-white little monkey in her arms also had Big Eyes King. Big brother Lin Xian will be fine, right? Shinjingqiu was nervous. The immortal of the God King. Peacock said. Don't worry, the palace master has a lot of trump cards. An invincible king wouldn't be able to kill him. In the blood pool, the experts from the other holy lands and sects fled one after another, leaving only Lin Xian behind. Seeing this, the invincible king above sneered, extremely satisfied. But soon he frowned. This was because he realized that there was still one person who hadn't left. You're courting death. He sneered and flicked his finger. Immediately, a silver flame turned into a stream of light and rushed down. Seeing this scene, the surrounding martial artists all exclaimed. The people of Immortal Palace were also extremely nervous. The others screamed. One had to know that the other party had killed a peak 8-star almighty with a casual attack. That method could be said to be incomparably terrifying. Now he actually attacked Lin Xian. It's over. Lin Xian is too arrogant. He's actually so arrogant in the face of an invincible king. That's right. If I were him, I would definitely retreat. No matter how strong he was only from the younger generation. Against an invincible king, he was probably not enough. These people discussed animatedly. Of course, there were also many people who sneered. Great. Let the invincible king kill this kid. If an invincible king attacked, this kid would definitely die. Who asked this brat to continue acting cool? Now he was out of luck, offending an unrivaled king. As they spoke, the silver-white flame still came down, wanting to pierce through Lin Xian. Buzz boom! Lin Xian raised his hand and turned into a golden crow. He rushed over and collided with the silver flame. The flames jumped and splashed in all directions. The silver flame was quickly extinguished by the golden crow. What, he blocked it? Oh god, has the Central Emperor become so terrifying? He can actually compete with an invincible king. Those people were shocked. Shen Jingqiu and the others heaved a sigh of relief. Above, the invincible king frowned. Blocked, the other party actually blocked his attack? Who is this? Could it be an invincible king? Silver light flickered in his eyes as he looked down, wanting to see everything clearly. No, it's not the aura of an invincible king. He snorted coldly and waved his hand. A gust of wind blew up, forming two huge wind blades that directly cut open the blood pool below. It was a young man. He frowned. Kid, who are you? Who are you? Lin Xian also stood up and asked with a frown. Although the other party was an invincible king, he didn't have much fear. After all, he had many trump cards. Moreover, a long time ago, he had also killed an invincible king, so he wasn't afraid of the other party. If the other party dared to disturb his cultivation or snatch something he wanted, he would still attack the other party. Seeing the other party's attitude, which was neither servile nor overbearing, the invincible king frowned. Who didn't have to be respectful when they saw him? Even the weak ones had to kneel down to him. However, this young man in front of him was so calm. This was unbelievable. He frowned. He seemed to have heard the people around him call him Central Emperor. Could it be that this kid was the Central Emperor of Central State, who had recently received 5 titles? Lin Xian? You're the kid who received a title in Central State? That's right. I am. Who are you? I'm the White Wolf King. Kid, let me give you a piece of advice. The younger generation is still the younger generation. They can't be compared to me at all. Just now it was just a casual attack from me. You must have used all your strength to block it. Not bad. It's indeed rare for the younger generation to reach your level. No wonder you can receive the title of Central Emperor. However, against me, you have no chance of winning. Leave obediently. This pool of blood is mine. As soon as these words were said, the surrounding people were shocked. He had actually received the recognition of an invincible king. This was a supreme glory. That's right, invincible king was an existence that stood at the peak of the continent. In the era where saints didn't appear, they were the kings. These people were incomparably envious. Of course, there were also some who gritted their teeth. Damn it. This kid was so lucky that even an invincible king didn't kill him. Damn it, this was too hateful. These people were very depressed. Lin Xian had a strange expression after hearing this. Chapter 27-25. Moreover, from the other party's words, the other party seemed to know the origin of this heart, and also wanted it. He narrowed his eyes and said in a deep voice, "You can retreat, but wait until I take this heart first before leaving." What, this guy actually dared to provoke an invincible king? The surrounding people were all stunned. Everyone could see that this invincible king wanted the heart at the bottom of the blood pool. However, Lin Xian actually dared to have designs on the blood-colored heart. What did he want to do? Wanted to compete with an invincible king? He didn't want to live anymore. What was this kid thinking? He didn't know. Although he was the Central Emperor, a king of the younger generation, against a true invincible king, he was probably not enough. Could it be that this kid had some super trump card? These people were puzzled, but those enemies were extremely excited. Haha, this kid was too arrogant. He actually dared to go against the invincible king. Great, I'm so excited. He originally thought that the invincible king wouldn't make a move against him. But he didn't expect this kid to court death. Just watch, the invincible king would definitely not let him go. How powerful was the invincible king? He was a peak existence. How could he allow others to challenge him? This kid was too arrogant. Did he think that he was invincible after obtaining the title of the Central Emperor? In fact, he was still far from it. Discussions and sneers sounded one after another. The people of the Immortal Palace also became nervous. Shen Jingqiu hugged the snow-white little monkey tightly. "No way, big brother Lin Xian, please don't force it." The snow-white little monkey was hugged until he couldn't breathe. He could only roll his eyes. In the sky, the White Wolf King Chen Chen's face darkened, and a hint of anger appeared in his eyes. The other party actually dared to snatch something from him? This made him feel a little unreal. How many years had it been? No one had ever dared to say such words to him. Who didn't kneel down respectfully and offer up the things he liked? Now a young junior actually threatened to snatch the thing that he had set his eyes on. He was really in a hurry to die. Kid, do you know? Among the younger generation, you are the first person who dares to speak to me like this. Don't think that you can look down on the world just because you obtain the title of Central Emperor. That's something for you young people. It's not suitable for us. Confidence was a good thing. But if one was overconfident, one would become an idiot. Even if you kneel down and beg me now, I won't spare you. Confidence was a good thing. Overdoing it would make one an idiot. The same applies to you as well. Lin Xian's eyes shone brightly. Where did you get the confidence to think that you can beat me? Just because you're an invincible king? Just because you're an elder? My title of Central Emperor was earned through fighting, and it's still applicable to you. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous and carried a biting cold aura that spread in all directions. Hearing this, the surrounding people felt their scalps tingle. They had goosebumps all over their bodies. Fuck. He really dared to go against the invincible king. Moreover, his attitude was so unyielding. No one dared to believe it. The White Wolf King's expression was even colder. He had said so much just to make the other party kneel down and obediently accept his punishment. But the other party didn't seem to care at all, and even seemed to want to fight with him. Was this kid's brain flooded with water? You don't know what's good for you. Looks like the title of Central Emperor has already made you dizzy. Alright, I'll teach you a lesson today, and let you know the power of an invincible king. At this point, his eyes became incomparably cold, and his body emitted an incomparably terrifying killing intent. In the next moment, he raised his palm and slapped forward. An incomparably horrifying power gushed out in all directions, instantly engulfing Lin Xian. The White Wolf King was an invincible king. His strength was terrifying, and the moment he attacked, his strength far exceeded that of a peerless mighty figure. Even a peerless mighty figure at the peak of the 8-star realm couldn't be compared to him. Boom. Get lost. Lin Xian raised his hand and threw out 3 mountains. They shook heaven and earth and collided with the palm floating over in the sky. He didn't immediately activate the Black Duo because he felt that with his current physique and strength, he could already compete with an invincible king. Sure enough, in the sky, the 3 mountains shattered. Lin Xian kept retreating, but he wasn't injured. He blocked it. What, this kid really blocked the attack of an invincible king? This was no longer a casual palm strike. This invincible king clearly had killing intent, but Lin Xian was still able to block it. It was too shocking. The White Wolf King was also surprised that the other party actually blocked it. He narrowed his eyes, and his gaze was as sharp as a blade as he stared at the other party. I heard that you have the 9-yang divine body. It seems that it's true. Alright, I'll capture you and ask for the cultivation method of the 9-yang divine body. His eyes erupted with a resplendent light. The 9-yang divine body could allow a 7-star mighty figure to block the attack of an invincible king. This was absolutely shocking. If he could obtain and cultivate it, wouldn't that mean that he would be able to resist the attack of a saint at the invincible king realm? Thinking of this, his heart burned with passion. He had to obtain this divine body. Now it was no longer as simple as the other party provoking him. He was already filled with killing intent towards Lin Xian. In the next moment he attacked again. This time, his strength was even stronger than before. A palm transformed into a white wolf and descended from the sky, wanting to capture Lin Xian. A mere white wolf dared to compete with a true dragon? Lin Xian snorted coldly. With a wave of his palm, the surrounding sword Qi sword, a giant dragon roared out and fought with the white wolf in the sky. At the same time, he frantically absorbed the power of the blood pool again. This power was all integrated into the Great Dragon Sword Soul, causing the Great Dragon Sword Soul to quickly recover. 9 dragon-shaped sword Qi blocked the white wolf's palm. This scene made everyone feel incredulous. Even the White Wolf King was shocked. His face was terrifyingly gloomy. It was really surprising that the other party had the strength to contend with him. Kid, I'd like to see how many moves you can block from me. The White Wolf King sneered. With a wave of his palm, endless spiritual energy turned into a wolf-headed saber that descended from the sky. Under the saber, the wind and clouds surged, and the mountains and rivers shattered. The people in the distance trembled and found that they couldn't move. This was the power of an invincible king. Just the aftermath of this saber strike was enough to make them extremely shocked. One could imagine what kind of terrifying attack Lin Xian had suffered. Humph. Lin Xian snorted coldly and directly summoned the 9-story pagoda. He grabbed the pagoda with both hands and kept enlarging it. It turned into a mountain and directly blasted it out. There was a clang. Many people were stunned, and the white wolf saber was blocked in midair. The 9-story pagoda also stopped there. Lin Xian felt his arms go numb. He had to admit that the power of an invincible king was too strong. Previously, when he killed an invincible king, he used the Hei 2 to seal the invincible king's cultivation, suppressing it to the late stage of 8-star. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.